Sir,
good morning, sir, and we would like to welcome you heartily.
Good morning.
Thank you, sir.
Morning.
Thank you. Thanks for joining, sir. Thanks for
Mm.
joining. So it's 9:45, Dr. Manjaya Sarp. We can begin the proceeding on time.
Yeah.
Okay. Angel,
Good morning,
over to you.
sir. Srivastava sir, namaste. Director sir, namaste.
Namaste.
Angel, you can go ahead.
Yes, sir. A very good morning to all. Respected dignitaries, Dr. A.K. Srivastava, Member, Agricultural Scientist Recruitment Board, Dr. A.K. Singh, Director, Vice Chancellor, IARI, Dr. Rajan Sharma, the awardee of the 22nd Sukumar Basu Memorial Award, Principal Scientist of Dairy Chemistry Division, NDIRI Karnal, Dr. Rashmi Agarwal, Dean and Joint Director, Education, heads of different divisions, senior faculties, and students. On behalf of the Postgraduate School IRI, faculty and students, I welcome you all to the fourth day of the week-long celebrations of the 60th Convocation Program. Yesterday, we had the professors' presentations from six different schools, and today we shall commence with the different award lecture series. To begin with this morning, we will first have a lecture by the recipient of the prestigious Sukumar Basu Memorial Award, followed by a lecture by the recipient of Dr. Harikrishna Shastri Memorial Award and the second best Agricultural Extension Scientist Award. The Sukumar Basu Memorial Award is given to commemorate the memory of late Sukumar Basu ICS, who was associated with different aspects of agriculture in the Government of India and also with ICR in the capacity of its Secretary, Vice Chairman and Chairman. This award is given to research workers in India for their outstanding research in agricultural sciences, including animal husbandry and forestry. May I now humbly request Dr. Rashmi Agarwal, Dean and Joint Director Education, to kindly give the welcome address and apprise the audience about the award.
Thank you, Angel, and a very good morning to all of you. It is my proud pleasure and privilege to welcome all of you on this occasion on the celebration, week-long celebration of 60th Convocation Program, and today is the fourth day, as very well said by Dr. Angel. So Dr. A.K. Srivastava, Chairman, SRB, New Delhi, Dr. A.K. Singh, our Director, Vice Chancellor, Dr. Rajan Sharma, Principal Scientist from National Dairy Research Institute, who is a recipient of 22nd Sukumar Basu Memorial Award, distinguished invitees, joint directors, project director, heads of the division, professors, faculty, students, ladies and gentlemen. I extend a very warm welcome to all of you on the fourth day of the continuation of the celebrations of 60th Convocation Week program. As you know that today we have Dr. A.K. Srivastava, member SRB, as chairman of this session. And I, on behalf of the director and faculty and staff of Indian Agriculture Research Institute, very warmly welcome Dr. A.K. Srivastava on this occasion and for kindly accepting our invitation to be hearing this award lecture. I also very warmly welcome our director, awardee, Dr. Rajan Sharma, all the distinguished guests. I see Dr. V.P. Singh and many other distinguished past heads, professors of IRA have joined. So I warmly welcome each one of you and all the faculty and the students who have joined this Sukumar Basu Memorial Award lecture today. Angel has already introduced briefly about the Sukumar Basu Memorial Award. I will also briefly say a few words about this award. This Sukumar Basu Memorial Award has been instituted for outstanding research in the field of agriculture, including animal husbandry and forestry, leading to increase in agriculture productivity. This biennial award carries a cash prize of rupees 25,000 and a scroll to be met out from the return of the capital amount donated by late Dr. Sibdas Basu on the name of his brother, late Dr. Sukumar Basu, ICS, who was for many years concerned with various aspects of agricultural research and education at the country level and was also associated with ICR in the capacity as its secretary, vice chairman, and chairman, which Dr. Angel also briefed about. So with these words, once again, I warmly welcome to all of you on this very prestigious 22nd Sukumar Basu Memorial Award being given by an awardee, Dr. Rajan Sharma, Principal Scientist from National Dairy Research Institute, Karnal. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. May I now request our Honorable Director and Vice Chancellor, Dr. A.K. Singh, to formally introduce the chairperson of this award ceremony, Dr. A.K. Srivastava, to the August gathering.
Thank you, Angel, and it's my proud privilege and great pleasure to welcome Professor Srivastava as chairman of this particular session on Sukumar Basu Memorial Award Lecture. Friends, we all know Professor A.K. Srivastava is an eminent animal, dairy, and veterinary scientist. He had his basic education and did his graduation and post-graduation in veterinary science and animal husbandry from Veterinary College, Mathura. Obtained his PhD from PAU Ludhiana and postdoctorate from Institute of Toxicology, München University, Germany. And currently, he is a member of Agricultural Scientist Recruitment Board, and almost all of us at one or the other occasion have faced him in the board. Before joining ASRB, he was the director and vice chancellor of the National Dairy Research Institute. And during his tenure as director at IARI, he brought several reforms. His ability to connect with the dairy farmers and develop them into an entrepreneur is phenomenal and remarkable. I mean, I had the opportunity to see a few annual Mela at NDRI Karnal, and it was unbelievable, the kind of farmers, their prosperity that has come because of the intervention which were brought by Dr. Srivastava. He also served as the Dean, Faculty of Veterinary Science and Animal Husbandry at Scouts, Jammu, and he has been an involved teacher at Punjab Agriculture University, his alma mater. He was founder, member of the Food Safety and Standard Authority of India, and member of International Dairy Federation, member DBT Task Force on Biotechnological Approaches for Food and Nutritional Security, and also member Task Force on Animal Biotechnology. Dr. Srivastava is fellow of National Academy of Agriculture Sciences, and he also served the Academy as its secretary and vice president. And during this period, he brought out a number of policy papers related to animal sciences, dairy, and veterinary, and other also. He played a very significant role in organizing all the Agricultural Science Congress. I am a great admirer of his management ability when it comes to such national, international events, how meticulously he goes through plans. And that's really something remarkable. Among dozens of other awards, Dr. Srivastava is conferred with Dr. Burgesh Kurian Memorial Oration Award 2020. He is one of the leading personality in this field, and his services to the nation are remarkable and will always be remembered. I welcome you, sir, for this session, to chair this session, and look forward for your, of course, advice and comments at the end of presentation. Thank you so much for accepting our invitation.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. May I kindly request Dr. A.K. Srivastava, the Honorable Chairperson of today's session, to introduce the eminent speaker and awardee of this session.
Thank you, Angel. Thank you very much. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Very good morning. At the outset, my sincere thanks to Dr. A.K. Singh, Director Vice Chancellor of IARI, for giving me this opportunity to chair this very important session of the Dr. Sukumar Basu Memorial Award Lecture, which is being delivered by one of my very valuable colleague, Dr. Rajan Sharma, who was with me for the 10 years at NDRI Karnal when I was there. So thank you, Dr. A.K. Singh, for giving me this opportunity. Thank you, Dr. Rashmi Agrawal, for remain in touch with all this correspondence. Thank you very much. Well, friends, for me, it is an opportunity to chair this session and to give a brief introduction about the speaker. I know the credential capability of Dr. Rajan Sharma, and because of the merit, he has been selected and he is going to deliver 22nd Sukumar Basu Memorial Award Lecture. So welcome, Dr. Sharma.
Thank you, sir.
I think among all the participants, I know best about Dr. Rajan Kumar Sharma because he has been with me for the 10 years. Dr. Rajan Sharma, he belongs basically to Himachal Pradesh. He did BSc from Simla, Himachal Pradesh University, Simla. And then he completed MSc and PhD from National Dairy Research Institute, Karnal. Totality, he's having experience of 24 years, and during this 24 years, he guided 26 postgraduate students, which includes 9 PhD and 17 MSc students. As far as patent, as far as development of technology, as far as commercialization of the technology and developing entrepreneurship, in the NDRI, I think Rajan Sharma stand at number 1. During this period, total patent granted to him is 9, and he has developed and filed the patent for 16 technology. That is the huge as far as any scientist is concerned in the lifespan of 20 years. Several list of awards, just to give few. He is recipient of Professor Jeevan Singh Sidhu Award, Biotech Product and Process Development and Commercialization Award in 2020. He is recipient of Bharat Ratna Dr. Subramaniam Award for Outstanding Teacher, Best Paper Award, Best Teacher Award. He is Fellow of National Academy of Agricultural Sciences, Fellow of National Academy of Dairy Sciences. In 2016, he has been awarded by Low Cost Technology Development Award by the Association of Food Scientists and Technology. NRDC Meritorious Invention Award in 2013 he received. He is recipient of Visiting Professor Scholarship by Erasmus Mundi. Several awards he has been received. So it is a honor for him and honor for the ICR, honor for the NDRI. As far as his main research is concerned, in dairy chemistry, he has been working on milk quality as well as on dairy-based functional food. In the area of milk quality, he has dent, no doubt. He has contributed in the development of several innovative rapid detection technology for the detection of various adulterants in the milk. These adulterants may be detergent, maybe neutralizer, maybe added urea, or maybe hydrogen peroxide, or maybe formaldehyde, any type of detergent or any type of adulterants which we add in milk for enhancing the shelf life or for giving undue advantage. He has developed technology to detect, and these all technologies has been commercialized and are being used by dairy industry. Not only that, many postgraduate students from NDRI, they also develop themselves as entrepreneurs by adopting this technology in the dairy industry. So that is real achievements. In addition to that, he used aptamers for detection of the aflatoxin M1, and we know that the problem of aflatoxin M1 in milk is increasing year by year because of the poor quality of the feed and fodder. In area of dairy-based functional food, he explored the full potential of whey protein and casein-derived bioactive peptides. We always see that milk is a house of nutrients, not only nutrients, but also of therapeutic molecules. And these all therapeutic molecules, therapeutic attributes of the milk is inside the bioactive peptides on which he has worked, and he explored the full potential of pharmacological attributes of bioactive peptides. He also encapsulated the curcumin, and we know the pharmacological advantage of curcumin nowadays in health, as well as enhancing the immunity, antioxidant property. So he encapsulated the curcumin so that it is absorbed and it is bioavailable in the body. So in nutshell, I can say that Dr. Rajan Sharma is one of the best teacher. He is a good researcher. He has developed a lot of technology, and all this technology is not in book. It is being employed in the dairy industry. That is very satisfying. Many students have used this technology and they have established themselves as entrepreneurs in the dairy industries. I'm very happy to know that Dr. Rajan Sharma, he is recipient of Sukumar Basu Memorial Award, and today he is going to deliver this lecture. With this brief opening introductory remarks about Dr. Rajan Sharma, I welcome Dr. Rajan Sharma to start his lecture. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. Thank you, please.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
So, Dr. Rashmi, should I start?
Yes, sir. Please.
Please.
So, good morning to all of you. Honorable Chairman of this session, Dr. A.K. Srivastava, Dr. A.K. Singh, Director, Indian Agriculture Research Institute, Dr. Rashmi Agarwal, Dean and Joint Director, Education at IARI, and other august gathering, other dignitaries who are present on this occasion. First of all, let me thank Indian Agriculture Research Institute for bestowing me with this prestigious award. I know that this is one of the best award being given by IARI during its convocation. I thank IARI for giving me this award. I thank Dr. Srivastava, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you for reading my CV, and it is a really honor to have good words from you. And I thank you, sir. Thank you for leading us from the front. I always say it. Thank you, sir. I also thank the Director of Indian Agriculture Research Institute, Dr. A.K. Singh, and the Chairman of Academic Council, and others members who are associated with this award, who felt my research as a research work fit for this particular award. I thank, sir, all of you. I thank for again conferring me. It is really honor to receive this award from Indian Agriculture Research Institute. Thank you, sir. Sir, I will share the presentation.
Go ahead. Yes, we can see in the slides more. Please go ahead.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. So, as per the tradition, I will make a presentation on my research contribution. So, ladies and gentlemen, most of the work I have done in the Dairy Chemistry Division at National Dairy Research Institute, Karnal. I joined this great institute in 1997 at its Southern Regional Station, and later on in 2001, I shifted to NDRI, and I'm working in the Dairy Chemistry Department since then. So again, most of the work has been done in the Dairy Chemistry Department, along with the association with the other department. So the work I'm presenting basically in the area of dairy chemistry, and most of work is in the area of milk quality, and it is related to the development of analytical method for checking quality of milk, which was the main emphasis of my research work. So we know that the milk quality in this country has been a challenge, mainly because of the presence of adulterant and presence of contaminant. It is my firm belief that if you have a robust and analytical method to check the quality of milk, milk being a perishable commodity, so you need a rapidity. So rapidity is one of the, rapidity is one of the best attribute a analytical method can have when we go for checking the quality of the milk. So such method can ensure the quality of milk to the end consumer. So with that aim, we developed a different analytical method for checking adulteration in milk and contaminants in the milk, and also being in the dairy chemistry. Again, we developed a methodology for estimation of various analytes in the milk, and finally, I have made contribution in the functional dairy food also. This is the first method which we have developed, that is detection of detergent in the milk. If you see the economics of milk, milk fat is the costliest. So those who are involved in the adulteration of milk, the first target is the fat. So they remove the milk fat and then add the non-milk fat in the milk, and to emulsify it, the detergent is added. Detergent is also a component of synthetic milk. So if you can detect the detergent in the milk, you can check the adulteration of the milk. So with that aim, we developed a concept in 2006, and we started working on it. And as per this concept, detergent, we know they are positively charged, they are cationic, and we identified a dye which is a methylene blue, which is a negatively charged. And once you add this dye to the milk, it will combine with the detergent, and then the second part of the method is to remove this complex. So for that, we have used a non-polar solvent, that is chloroform, and the test was developed. This was the first test which we have developed, and over the time we have perfected it. And as you can see on the right side, the photograph, if the dye detergent complex, if it is more on the blue color on the lower side, that means it is a positive sample. So since it is a partitioning of dye, so one has to see the color on the upper layer and the lower layer. Test was quite simple and it was quite hit at that time. And we were granted patent for this particular test, and we also transferred the technology to Mother Dairy Delhi in 2008. The test was also included in the FSSAI manual, that is Food Safety Standard Authority, and the Bureau of Indian Standard, a particular standard IS 1479 for the rapid checking the quality of the milk. Although this method was good, but one of the problem was that centrifuge was required. So, I mean, we start getting the complaint that centrifuge is not available at the milk exception platform. So this test does not have that much, applicability. So later on, we worked on another dye, and we developed another simple test where no equipment was required. So centrifuge was done away with in this particular test. Again, this test was more rapid than the earlier test, and the color differentiation between the positive and the negative sample was quite contrast. So you can see on the right side, in case of positive sample, it is on the lower side, it is a pure blue, and in the negative sample, it is a purple color. This test was again granted patent. We filed a separate patent for this, and this test is capable of detecting all type of detergent which are available in the market. We were successful in transferring the technology to 6 organizations from NDRI, and over a period of span from 2013 to 2020. We got a positive feedback from the industry, and industry was quite happy, and many people are using this technology for checking the presence of detergent in the milk. This test can also be used for quantification of the detergent in the milk, and in that case, the quantification, the limit of detection is quite low, and of course, then you require a spectrophotometer. This particular work was done by one of my master student, and his work was recognized, and he was given best thesis award in the year 2012. And the whole team was also recognized by NRDC, and NRDC Meritorious Invention Award was given to the whole team. We continue to work. We wanted to make the test easy. We wanted to bring it on the paper. But I mean, although we got the patent, but the limit of detection was not as good as the earlier method. So still the earlier method is being used, and we are still contemplating to make it more simpler so that it can be of a dip style type of test. That work is still going on. The second part, in case of adulteration, we developed the test for detection of common adulterant in milk, which are commonly added like urea, neutralizer, glucose, sucrose. You must have hydrogen peroxide. You must have heard. The problem with the existing method was that they were not easy to use. They require mixing of chemicals with the milk sample. You require sort of a heating arrangement, and there was ambiguity in the test result. So because of these, although these methods are good, but they could not be used at the milk reception platform. We got a funding in around 2013 from Ministry of Food Processing to develop a paper strip based test, and accordingly we started working on it. And the concept was that on a paper we will immobilize instead of using on the test tube a chemical, we will immobilize the enzyme or a chromosome on the paper. And once you put a drop on the paper, because if the adulterant is present, the paper will change the color. So based on this concept, we developed a test. And later on, again, while working on it, we found that just putting the drop on the paper is again a problem. I mean, people are not comfortable with it. So we again worked it on, and we developed now a dip stage. This is the final version of the test where the one has to put the developed strip in the milk sample, take it for momentarily and take it out, and then see the change in the color. So depending upon the adulterant and depending upon the strip changes color, and the results are available within 10 minutes. Here also no equipment is required, and the best part is sensitivity is better than the existing, the wet chemistry based method. And we applied patent. We got one patent for a urea strip, and other 2 patents are in the pipeline. And we developed the strips for neutralizer, urea, hydrogen peroxide, glucose, sucrose, maltodextrin, salt. And recently, very recently, we have also developed a test for detection of formaldehyde in the milk also. We made effort to publicize this test, and we made pamphlet, various forums, as Dr. Singh was saying that about the dairy mela. So we presented this technology to farmers and other stakeholders, and we got recognition also. We got recognition from Biotech and then Association of Food Science and Technology as a low-cost technology award in 2016, and as a biotech product process commercialization award from the DBT in 2020. And again, we were managed to transfer the technology to 9 different commercial houses, and most of them are using for in-house purpose this technology. One of the recipient of the technology was Delmos Research Private Limited. This was, as Dr. Srivastava was saying, this was a group of students who has become an entrepreneur. They were BTech students from NDRI, and they have purchased this technology first in 2017. They tested it and then again purchased the next few technologies in 2018. Now they have become an entrepreneur, and the technology is available in the market. They are marketing this strip in the name of Dell strip, and this startup is quite successful. Then other companies like Verka, they are also using Mother Dairy. They are also using for in-house purpose. We got positive feedback from the industry. People were satisfied with this particular technology, and in fact, the Delmos research has they have also appreciated this test, and now, like in 2017, they started supply to many dairy companies, and in 2020, when we asked them feedback, they said that in 2020 they sold. They had a turnover of 1 crore rupees, and 10 lakh strips were sold to different dairies in the country. Just 2 days back, I asked them that what is their financial status and how many strips they are saying they are selling to the industry. So they indicated that they are selling in 21-22 33 lakh, and in totality from 2017 to 21 around 70 lakh strips they have sold to the dairy industry across the country. So that was about the adulteration, and then at the same time, parallelly, we thought that since contaminant is also a problem in our country, so antibiotic residues are coming into the milk supply because of the indiscriminate use of antibiotic. So we worked on a technology called lateral flow immunoassay, where gold nanoparticles as well as carbon nanoparticles were used. We perfected this technology. We learned this technology, and we got funding from Ministry of Food Processing and National Agriculture Higher Education Project. We got the opportunity to learn this technique, and this is the first test which we had developed, that is detection of oxytetracycline in the milk using lateral flow assay, and the limit of detection was quite good. The regulatory requirement is 100 ppb, but our limit of detection was 35 ppb. This work was done by Dr. Lakshman. Dr. Lakshman was recognized through Jawaharlal Nehru Award for this particular work, and he received this award in 2017. He was a PhD student. Then another PhD student, Dr. Kiran Lata, she worked on the ceflexin and again developed a lateral flow assay. Again, the limit of detection was quite less compared to the regulatory requirement, that is 100 ppb, and the limit of detection was 30 ppb. One of other master student, he worked on the development of a test for detection of soya milk in milk, again using antigen antibody concept and lateral flow assay. And the test could detect the presence of soya milk in milk at around 2% level. Just recently, I got an opportunity to visit Netherlands. We joined hands with the worker in the Wageningen University at Netherlands, and then Animal Genetics Department at NDRI. And in NDRI, we had a one famous test called Hansa test, which can be used for detection of buffalo milk in cow milk. So we used the same concept and brought the same test into the lateral flow assay. And in this is a competitive format. If the buffalo milk is absent in the cow milk, we get 2 lines, and if buffalo milk is present beyond a limit of 5%, we get single line. So this was another test which was developed at NDRI, and this technology is listed in NDRI list of technologies. Not only that, we perfected the art of lateral flow assay. We disseminated this knowledge also. In fact, on multiple occasions, on many winter schools, we had a full day lecture and practical on the lateral flow assay. We shared our knowledge with the various researchers as well as some other stakeholders. Like this is from Kerala. And recently, we also organized a international web workshop. It is a 4-day workshop where all aspects of this particular technology, lateral flow assay, was discussed and the knowledge was shared with the scientific community. Another technology which we worked was on molecular imprinting. Again, this technique was used for antibiotic residue detection in the milk. Molecular imprinting is a simple technique in the sense that we prepare the imprints of a molecule on a polymer, and then that polymer is, once you add in a, say, complex matrix like milk, it will go and attach the molecule of interest. So second part is how to remove it. So we developed not only molecular imprinting, but also developed a magnetic molecular imprinted. So with the help of magnet, you can remove the analyte of interest from the complex matrix. We work on cephalexin, oxytetracycline, tetracycline, cefgenome, and lactate, which is one of the important analyte in case of dairy chemistry. So we published the work, this particular work, and again for cephalexin, tetracycline, and lactate. We developed magnetic imprinted polymer also, and again the work was published in various research journals. As you can see in this particular figure, we have developed a magnetic imprinted polymer for oxytetracycline. So there was very less cross-reactivity, and oxytetracycline was very well recognized and can be separated from the milk for further analysis. Later on, we worked on aptamer-based technology thanks to NAIP, National Agriculture Innovation Project, where we got the opportunity to work with the researcher at Roorkee IIT, and expertise was developed in this particular area. We also got funding from Department of Biotechnology, and we worked for detection of aflatoxin M1 in the milk, and also another antibiotic, that is cephalexin, in the milk using aptamer-based technology. 2 patents were granted in this particular field, and another patent has been filed. We also worked on beta-casomorphin 7, which is a concept in A1 and A2 milk. So this was the first paper which we published in the aptamer for aflatoxin M1, where the aptamers for the aflatoxin M1 were generated. This was where this paper has quite a good citation, and subsequently, we combined 2 technologies, that is aptamer and electrochemical technology, and we developed an electrochemical sensor for detection of aflatoxin M1 using aptamer. So this was quite sensitive test. So we tried to prove that aptamer which have been developed in our lab, they can be used for sensing platform. Since aptamers are nucleotide, single chain nucleotide, so they are around 70 base pair. So we try to truncate it. So unwanted part was removed, and again we try to prove that even the shorter oligonucleotide, which were developed using a particular concept, particular software, they are also able to detect the aflatoxin M1 with the same affinity. Lastly, in case of aptamer, we worked on developing a method for beta-casomorphin 7. Beta-casomorphin 7 is a 7 amino acid long peptide which is released during digestion of A1 milk. So A1 milk is not considered good. So we thought that once the milk is digested, so is it possible to detect the presence of beta-casomorphin 7? So which will ascertain that the milk somebody is using is actually a A1 milk. So with that concept, we worked on this particular technology, and a patent was filed and a publication was done. Later on, we worked on various analytes in the milk. We developed methodology, and all these methodologies were innovative, and with the concept that they were rapid and they can be used at a quality control laboratories. So we developed a method for detection of urea in the milk. We developed a method for estimation of various carbohydrates in the milk. And then we developed a method for detection of sialic acid in milk, can be used for detection of adulteration of cheese whey in the milk. All these work were published. Recently, in 2021, we have developed a staining protocol on the SDS page, where a dye was identified, which is a stains all dye, and this dye could differentiate between casein and whey protein. So this was, so if you are running a sample of protein on the SDS page, this dye will behave differently with casein and differently with the whey protein. So we developed, we perfected this staining procedure, and later on we used the same concept for the detection of adulteration of cheese whey in the milk. So in the cheese whey, since casein components are coming, so those components will stain blue, as you can see on the lane 6, and others it will be purple in color. So with this, we developed this particular dye, and this dye, we believe that it is a breakthrough innovation which will have a long impact in the dairy chemistry. Along with my senior colleague at NDRI, I also worked on the functional dairy food, where the main emphasis was on the nano encapsulation. So nano encapsulation of various bioactives. So we have nano encapsulated the technology of curcumin, the clovile emulsion, and the limonene. So all these are, they have the therapeutic properties, and since they are not, I mean, they can be degraded in our system, and they are not water, I mean, they cannot be solubilized in an aqueous system like milk. So we made a nano encapsulation based technology which can be used for incorporated into the various food metrics. We developed the technology of encapsulation of curcumin in the nano encapsulation of curcumin, and this nano encapsulated curcumin can be added into the milk and other matrices. And recently, we transferred this technology during the COVID period. We transferred this technology to a company in Kerala. So, ladies and gentlemen, throughout my research work, we were able to develop various patents, and 9 patents have been granted, and another 7 has been filed. Out of these 9 patents, 4 have been commercialized, and the technology has been transferred to the various stakeholders. We were also we also published the concepts in dairy chemistry in 2 books, which is Chemical Quality Assurance of Milk and Milk Product and Advanced Analytical Techniques in Dairy Chemistry. So these books were recently published by Springer, and which can be used by students of dairy chemistry, as well as they can be used in the quality control laboratories. Coming to the impact of research, so the H index is 22. Our work is very well cited, and I mean, it gives satisfaction to us. And lastly, recently, our work has been recognized by in a compilation called Economic Impact of ICAR Research, which has been compiled by National Institute of Agriculture Economics and Policy Research. And they compiled all the successful technologies of ICAR, and our technology also got placed in this particular booklet. And as per the estimate, because of the work in the milk quality, the adulteration in the country has been reduced from 39% to 3.7%, and presence of detergent incidence has come from 8% to 0.1% over a period of 7 years, from 2011 to 2018. Similarly, and as per other estimate, because of our technology, since the quality milk was being purchased, so dairy industry got a benefit of around 174 crore rupees in 2018-19, and society as a large, because once you are having a pure milk, you many of the diseases you keep at will not be there. So that is another benefit to the society. Through Delmos research, the technologies have been available throughout India. Many of the leading commercial houses, they are using our technology. Although we have not sold to many of these stakeholders, but through the Delmos research, since they developed a network across India, so these technologies are being used by various stakeholders. Lastly, let me thank all those who have been part of this journey. First, the leadership at ICR, as Dr. Srivastava said, that I have worked with him for the last during 10 years when he was director at NDRI. I thank all the leadership, Dr. Srivastava, for making the conducive environment, which was very much required to develop such type of research work. I thank the various funding agency. I will say that the turning point was the NAIP, National Agriculture Innovation Project. It was there during the 2011 period, and due to which we were exposed to various technologies and we perfected the art. So I thank Ministry of Food Processing Industry and National Agriculture Innovation Project, Department of Biotechnology, and NAHEP for providing the funding. I profusely thank Dr. Y.S. Rajput, who was head of department at Dairy Chemistry, and my association with him was a turning point. So I thank him. He was my mentor. So we still, although he has superannuated, we are still working at this moment also. I thank Dr. Rajput for providing a helping hand to me. I thank my master and PhD student. I think almost all the work which I am presenting it has been done by my students. So I thank a big thank to all the students for doing this quality work and doing this quality publication. So with that, I once again thank Indian Agriculture Research Institute for conferring me this prestigious award. Thank you for patience listening to me.
Thank you, sir, for your lecture. May I now request the chairperson of today's function, Dr. A.K. Srivastava, to kindly offer his valuable remarks.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Rajan Sharma. Wonderful presentation. I think everyone enjoyed. As I said in my opening remarks, that lot of technology has been developed to assess the quality of milk and milk products by Rajan Sharma. And these technologies are not only in books, not on paper, but has been transferred. It has been used and it is being used. Many entrepreneurs have also adopted this technology and they are very successful in the field conditions. Dr. Rajan Sharma talked about all the technologies which he developed for assessing the quality of the milk. He talked about the carbon nanoparticles based lateral flow assay. He talked about the molecular imprinting, maybe molecular imprinted polymers or maybe magnetic molecular imprints. He talked about the aptamers, which is being used for the detection of M1. He talked about beta-casomorphin, A1, A2, and different healthy milk value-added products. Well, friends, on behalf of myself, on behalf of IARI, on behalf of every participants, my sincere thanks to Dr. Rajan Sharma for giving a wonderful presentation. And it is a eye-opening for our young scientists, the way technology can be developed, the way it can be transferred, the way many entrepreneurs can use this technology for the development of agricultural products. As far as dairy sector is concerned, wonderful, Dr. Rajan Sharma, my heartiest appreciation and congratulations to Honorable Professor. As
sir,
far as
sir, our director is there, Dr. Chauhan sir is there. So
Dr. Chauhan, if he's here, Dr. Chauhan, thank you very much. And my heartiest appreciation for providing good opportunity and good congenial environment in the institute to continue this technology.
Yes, very much required, sir.
As far as dairy sector, I was very happy to see the purpose of award of this lecture. The purpose of award of this lecture is who can enhance the productivity of agricultural produce. Since now we are having large number of participants here, I will use this platform to say that as far as enhancement of production and productivity is concerned, dairy sector is at number one. When I compare, when you talk at any forum, that India is the largest milk producing country. And today I was calculating that what would be the milk production today. Today, the milk production of India is 208 to 210 million ton, which is at number 1 in the world largest milk producing country. When you talk that India is the world largest milk producing country, many people say that, okay, India is the holder of largest livestock population and that lead to the highest milk production. But no, our dairy scientist has worked to enhance the productivity of animal. Per animal production has increased. Simple example I'm giving, 1951 was the first census and 2019 was the last census. So in this, from 1951 to 2019, the cattle population has increased 24%, buffalo population has increased 150%, and this 24% increase in cattle, 150% increase in buffalo population led to increase the milk production to the tune of 1,167%. It cannot be number driven. It is the technology driven enhancement in milk production in India. This is the first point. Second, quality, certainly everyone asked. Just few days back, I was talking at a forum and I said that India is producing more than 200 million ton of the milk. A person asked me that out of this 200 million, how much is synthetic milk? It's very simple. How question is that quality of milk is always questioned. And for that, the NDRI, the chemistry division, is working very hard to assess, to determine the quality of the milk. Maybe any adulterant, maybe aflatoxins, maybe anything. And we are working, NDRI is working on these aspects. And I have full appreciation for that. Another issue in dairy sector, as Dr. Rajan Sharma said that about A1 and A2 milk. Few days back, I delivered a lecture on Amrit Mahotsav, and I made very clear. And today we are having large number of participants, 500 approximate participants, and I will request them that please talk to the people, to the 10 consumers, that yes, people are talking about A1 and A2. They say that A1 is bad, A2 is good, but let us talk the science. Science has never proved, science has never confirmed that A1 is bad or A2 is good. Whatever research data is available, it is sponsored by A2 company. Independent research has not been done to prove that A1 is bad and A2 is good. A1, A2 is not much difference. As has been said by Dr. Rajan Sharma, that it is only beta casein. We know that beta casein is a 209 amino acids. And out of this 209 amino acid, at position number 67, in A2, there is one amino acid that is called as proline, and in A1, that is the histidine. That is the difference only. There is not much difference. We don't have any scientific proof that A2 is good and A1 is bad. Although research interest, people are working in that way. But all the data, which is sponsored by only A2 company, and now New Zealand has banned to claim the good health attributes of A1, A2 milk. Even then, if you say that A1 and A2 is being talked in the Western country, in India, there is nothing to worry, because our all crossbred animal, the homozygous A1 gene in crossbred bulls is only 0.01%. That's all. Our all crossbred cow, buffalo, indigenous cow, sheep, goat, all are A2 milk. There. So science is good. Let us develop all the technology, but to the consumers, let us not divide the consumers that I am A2 milk consumer, I am A1 milk consumer. So this is the very fact. Since we have time, in the last 5-6 years, a lot of myths are being circulated in market, in society, in the milk consumers, that let us go for vegan. Our soya milk, rice bran milk, coconut milk, almond milk, flaxseed milk, they are, they are coming in the market and they say that they can replace the milk. Let me warn the consumers of these all soya milk, flaxseed milk, almond milk, and all these things. All nutrient, for example, if we take the example of soya, except protein and iron, all other nutrient is fortified in the soya milk, number one. Number two, when we talk about the nutrient value, health attributes value of milk, it is not the only calcium, phosphorus, magnesium, all fat soluble, water soluble vitamin, but it is the matrix of the milk, food matrix of the milk, which helps, which promote the enhancement of each and every micronutrients, macronutrients present in the milk. I always quote this example that there was a company, I will not name that which company, that was the, they say there was an advertisement on the television that mother is adding the, mother is giving the milk to the child, a doctor comes and he says that if you don't add this supplement, calcium will not be absorbed. I presented all the documents, scientific documents, and compel them to withdraw that advertisement, because milk is having calcium, phosphorus, vitamin D exactly in the same ratio, which will lead 100% availability of calcium from milk. Another is, myth that spinach is having more calcium, 25 times more calcium, 30 times more calcium than milk. But I tell you that the absorption of calcium from milk is 100%, and the absorption of spinach from absorption of calcium from spinach is not more than 12%. So again, I emphasize that it is the matrix of the milk, what it is having, which will lead the 100% bioavailability of the all micronutrients. Number one. As far as health attributes, can you tell me that any food which is having bioactive peptides which can reduce the blood pressure? No, it is only milk. Hypotensive bioactive peptides have been isolated from the milk. Immune modulators, bioactive peptides have been isolated from the milk. Anti-diabetic bioactive peptides have been isolated from the milk. Both type of bioactive peptides, which can contract the beta isolate cell of pancreas to release the insulin, and which can also enhance the combination or binding of insulin with the insulin receptor. So all type of health attributes, all type of micronutrients which we are having in the milk, there is no substitute of any plant-based milk which can replace the milk. My simple request is that let us talk to the consumers, what is good, what is bad, based on the science. When I was in Punjab, some activists, started beating a farmers, and farmers was, he was killed because he was using oxytocin for let down of the milk in his cow. Oxytocin, we never recommend. We never recommend oxytocin should be used for let down of the milk, but it is a drug. It is a life-saving drug. It is without oxytocin, there will be no calving. There will be no let down of milk. There is no emotional bondage. Oxytocin hormone is responsible for emotional bondage between mother and child, with mother and calf. But misuse of oxytocin should be stopped. But oxytocin, if it is injected, which should not be, even then, it will never affect the human health. 5 reasons. It is never secreted in the milk. Even then, if it is secreted in micro quantity, when we boil, when we pasteurize, it is inactivated. Even then, if it is not inactivated, it will never be absorbed from our GIT. From our GIT, 8 amino acid sequence cannot be absorbed. It will be broken down. And in body, there is no system that all 8 amino acid will combine in the same sequence and form the hormone. Even then, if they are synthesized in the human body, after joining all these amino acid in the same sequence, we don't have any receptor on our body where oxytocin can combine and show the adverse effect. This is the science. So when I joined NDRI, I was the first person to say, many people say that don't speak so, confidently, it will create a problem. Why it will create a problem? We are talking on the science. Message, oxytocin should not be used for let down of the milk, but even if it is being used, let us say that it is not going to affect the health of the consumers. It is a myth that our girl children are becoming, adult at very early age. It is enhancing the puberty age to the lower, all these myths. So my request, using this platform, because I'm thankful to Dr. A.K. Singh that a dairy scientist has been selected for delivering this prestigious award. all the plus point of dairy sector, milk as a food, for nutrient, for therapeutic attributes should be explored for the consumers. As far as dairy sector is concerned, today I tell that government of India that in 2021, the total outcome of only milk is equivalent to the outcome of wheat, rice, pulses. This is the biggest advantage, that despite limited investment in animal sector and dairy sector, India is means contributing in the food security of the country. 200 million ton of, if we see the 70s, just 30-40 years before, means the total milk production was 1/3 of the European Union and only 25% of the US. And today we have surpassed that the milk production of the US, European Union, and all these things. So my all best wishes to the dairy farmers, to the dairy scientists who have contributed in enhancing the milk production, productivity, and quality. And also the dairy technology is working on the value added milk products, milk food. If I say that if millets and milk can be combined together, IRI and NDRI, if they can work together at one platform to make a dairy-based value-added food with millet and milk, I think no better nutrient-dense food we can prepare. What milk is not having, it is in abundance in the millet. That is the iron, that is the zinc, which is not in good quantity in the milk. Otherwise, milk have everything. Milk is the only food which is having short-chain fatty acid, butyric acid. That is the butyric acid helps in the multiplication of the brain neurons. And abundance of data is available to prove that if a child is deprived for milk during growing stage, during initial 1000 days, the brain development is much, much less as compared to the child who has been given the milk. Today we talk about the probiotics. Fermented dairy product is the best food for administration of probiotics, because in probiotics there are many genes which are uncoded during fermentation process of the milk, and their health attributes is fully explored. So what I want to say that yes, dairy sector is backbone for quality food, for nutritional security of country. Despite limited investment, this sector has shown a constant growth, productivity enhancement, production enhancement, quality of the milk, which is being questioned. We have to agree. And in future, our objective should be that not only quantity, but quality milk should reach to the consumers. NDRI is working in that direction. But I will request Dr. A.K. Singh that let us have a project that how millet-based or other crop-based health food can be prepared with milk and milk products, so that it is having all nutrients, all pharmaceutical attributes, all health attributes for the benefit of the society. With these remarks, once again, I appreciate Dr. Rajan Sharma for giving a wonderful lecture. And thanks to Dr. A.K. Singh, Director, Vice Chancellor, IARI, Dr. Rasmi Singh, and whole team for organizing this wonderful convocation week. My all best wishes for the convocation. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. That was really wonderful and eye-opening. Excellent presentation. Before a formal vote of thanks comes, I would like to say that Dr. Rajan Sharma, what a wonderful, comprehensive presentation and impactful research, which has translated from lab to industry. And through that, it has touched the life of millions of consumers in the country. So there could not have been a better choice than what we have made through this award. And in summarizing the presentation, the kind of comprehensive views which have been presented by Dr. Srivastava on many of the aspects, clarifying the myth, be it oxytocin, be it B1, B2 milk, I would request my media colleague, Dr. Roy Burman, to kindly make from the both presentation as well as the summary by Dr. Srivastava a small clip, topic-wise, like oxytocin can be one, and V1, V2 can be one, and adulteration can be one. And then these small video clips of, say, 3 minutes, 4 minutes would be made available on our YouTube channel for wide access to public and people with due permission of the chairperson. And this was so wonderfully presented and summarized. I'm really grateful to both the speaker, awardee, and also to Dr. Srivastava for sparing his valuable time. And also Dr. Manmohan Singh Chauhan, I saw him listening entire lecture right from beginning. Thank you, sir, and thank you for providing the leadership of the Institute for excellent work. And thank you once again to all, and over to Angel.
Thank you, sir. So before we conclude the session, I would like to invite Dr. Rashmi Agarwal, Dean and Joint Director Education, to present a formal vote of thanks.
Thank you, Angel. And really, it was a wonderful lecture given by Dr. Rajan Sharma. And we are really so honored that we could select such a good researcher, eminent researcher. Not only his research was published in high impact journals, but patented, commercialized, and given to the society. So that was wonderful. And my congratulations on behalf of IARI, Director IARI. We heartily congratulate you. At the same time, sir, we are so thankful to Dr. A.K. Srivastava, Chairman SRV, for clarifying, very nicely summarizing his lecture, and also clarifying on many of the myths which we always have in our mind. We keep reading articles, hearing many people that stop drinking milk and shift to many other kinds of milk, which sir also mentioned. So such a wonderful, sir, conclusion, and removing all those myths from our minds, that now we can have very confidently take milk, because you said that it has all the nutrients, and so nicely concluded, sir, from your side. So heartfelt thanks to both of you, sir. And at the same time, I would like to thank our director, IRI, who had been guiding us and very meticulously planning the whole Convocation Week program. I would like to thank Dr. M.S. Chauhan, Director NDRI, and many eminent and distinguished invitees who I could see who have joined this Convocation Awardee lecture. And I'm thankful to them also. And I'm so thankful to PD and all heads of the division, professors, and faculty members who have really joined in great numbers. Now, I'm sure those who didn't join, they must be feeling that they missed this wonderful lecture in live, but of course they can all have it on YouTube. So with these words, once again, very scintillating, very motivating lecture by Dr. Rajan Sharma. So with these words, once again, thank you to each one of you for joining this lecture and enjoying it fully. So claps to Dr. Rajan Sharma and Dr. A.K. Srivastava. Thank you so much.
Thank you for this opportunity. It was a great honor to make a lecture here and to receive an award from IARI. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Sharma. Thank you. So I think we have some 10 minutes time before we start at 11 o'clock next session.
Yes.
So you can relax, have a bio break, and come back, but not in any less number. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Be logged in. Huh?
Yes.
I think the speaker has joined, Dr. Munsi, I can see the next awardee.
Okay.
And but we are waiting for Dr. A.K. Singh.
Good morning to all of you, sir.
Good
Good
morning.
morning. Very good.
Welcome and
Just
congratulations.
chairperson has not joined.
So we
because
will
you-
wait for
Good morning to
Alright,
our
but-
honorable director,
Good morning.
Madam Dean and Joint Director Education, Dr. Manjaya, Associate Dean, and I could see Dr. S.K. Chakravarti, Head, and all others.
Yes,
So,
yes. We'll break for
Thank you.
10 minutes, sir. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, because the time is 11 o'clock. No?
Yes,
So,
yes.
all right. I can see Sri Vakar Shastri ji, welcome you, sir. We will be starting shortly at 11 o'clock. That's the scheduled time. And I'm so thankful to you and grateful to you for joining the program. We will be shortly starting. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Namaskar,
Thank you.
Shastri ji, namaskar.
Namaskar. Thank you so much for having me. And I'm in the car, so unfortunately, because I'm out for my campaign in Uttar Pradesh.
Right, sir.
So, but I'm really privileged to be amongst the best. And thank you so much for having me. And it's a pleasure.
Welcome, Shastri ji. Bhagya Shastri ji, welcome.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Ayyak Sahab, good morning. Very good morning and hearty welcome.
Thank you. Good morning to all of you.
Thank you.
Welcome, sir.
Morning.
Welcome. Good morning and welcome, sir.
Thank you.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, all of you, all the audience, please.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning. How are you, Raksha?
I'm fine, sir.
Good.
Great.
Yeah.
So, Dr. Rasmi, we have 533 people with
Yes,
us,
sir.
and we are on time at close to 11, and chairman has joined, Dr.
Yes.
A.K. Singh. We also have Ivakar Shastri ji. He is in campaign and still he is able to join. He is traveling, I can see. But thank you so much, sir. Pleasure to have you here.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Dr. Rasmi, we can
Yes,
start.
sir, we can start. Dr. Angel, start, please.
A very good morning to one and all, respected dignitaries. Dr. A.K. Singh, Deputy Director, Horticulture Science. Dr. A.K. Singh, Director, Vice Chancellor, IARI. Dr. A.D. Munshi, awardee of the 22nd Hari Krishna Shastri Memorial Award, Principal Scientist, Division of Vegetable Science, IARI. Dr. Rashmi Agarwal, Dean and Joint Director, Education. The heads of different divisions, senior faculties, and students. On behalf of the Postgraduate School, IRI, faculty and students, I welcome you to the second award lecture series. Earlier, we had a lecture by the recipient of the 22nd Sukumar Vasu Memorial Award. And now we will commence with the presentation by the recipient of the prestigious Dr. Hari Krishna Shastri Memorial Award. Dr. Hari Krishna Shastri Memorial Award is awarded to the scientists or academicians of Indian nationality from all branches of agricultural science for their outstanding contribution in the concerned field of agricultural science. To begin with, we will first have the lighting ceremony, as light symbolizes knowledge, truth, and understanding, removing darkness.
कल्याणं आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरु त्वं कल्याणं आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शत्रुबुद्धिविनाशाय दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते।
Angel, you unmute yourself.
May I now request the esteemed dignitaries for paying the floral tribute to late Sri Hari Krishna Shastri Ji. I now humbly request Dr. Rashmi Agarwal, Dean and Joint Director Education, to kindly give us the welcome address and apprise the audience about the award.
Thank you, Angel, and good morning to all of you. This is a second session. We are going to begin on fourth day of 60th Convocation Week program. We have in this session, 22nd Shri Hari Krishna Shastri Memorial Award Lecture. Dr. A.K. Singh, DDG Horticulture Sciences, ICR New Delhi, who is the chairperson of this award lecture. Dr. A.D. Munshi, Principal Scientist, Division of Vegetable Science, the recipient of this award. Dr. Shri Vibhakar Shastri Ji, family member of Shri Hari Krishna Shastri Ji, who is joining while traveling. Dr. A.K. Singh, Director and Vice Chancellor, Indian Agriculture Research Institute. Distinguished guests, invitees, joint directors, PDs, heads, professors, faculty, students, ladies and gentlemen. It is my really great pleasure and proud privilege to welcome all of you on the occasion of 22nd Shri Hari Krishna Shastri Memorial Award Lecture, which is being held today. And this is being delivered by Dr. A.D. Munshi, Principal Scientist, Division of Vegetable Science, IARI. Before I apprise you about this award, I warmly welcome the chairperson, Dr. A.K. Singh, who accepted our invitation to chair this award lecture. So we are very happy, and sir, we are warmly welcoming you on this occasion. I would also like to welcome Dr. A.D. Munshi, the awardee, and warmly welcome Dr. Shri Vibhakar Shastri Ji. And because in spite of his very, very busy schedule, he has joined, and I can see Dr. Shri Anil Shastri Ji also. So we warmly welcome Anil Shastri Ji also on this occasion, of our 22nd Shri Hari Krishna Shastri Memorial Award Lecture. We are very delighted to have you here, sir, on this occasion. And so I, on behalf of Director IARI and on my own behalf, I welcome all of you. So I briefly, I will apprise you about this award lecture. Shri Hari Krishna Shastri Memorial Award was initiated in the year 2000-2001 on the request of Shrimati Vibha Shastri ji, wife of late Shri Hari Krishna Shastri ji. Shri Shastri ji, as Minister of State for Agriculture, has contributed a lot in improving the service conditions of agricultural scientists at the time when it was needed most, which proved to be the great source of encouragement for improving the quality of agricultural research, education, and extension. The purpose of instituting this annual award was to motivate agricultural scientists by recognizing their outstanding contributions to agricultural science, to agricultural research, education, and extension in our country. The award carries a cash prize of Rs 25,000 and citation. So it's a very prestigious award, and we are very thankful to the family members of Dr. Shri Hari Krishna Shastri ji who have joined today, and we warmly welcome them and all other dignitaries who have joined this prestigious lecture. So with these words, I hand over the platform to Dr. Angel.
Thank you, ma'am. I now request our respected Director and Vice Chancellor, Dr. A.K. Singh, to formally introduce the chairperson of this award ceremony, the distinguished and eminent scientist, Dr. A.K. Singh, DDG, Horticultural Science.
Thank you, Angel. And let me at the outset add my own words of welcome to most revered Sri Anil Shastri ji and Vivakar Shastri ji, members of Shastri ji family, for joining this program and honoring us by the gracious presence. To chair this award lecture, we have with us renowned horticulturist, Dr. Anand Kumar Singh. Dr. Singh did his bachelor in agriculture from Banaras Hindu University, master's and PhD from Indian Agriculture Research Institute, and he worked on grapes tissue culture. That was the time in 80s. The tissue culture had just come, and using this technology for mass propagation of disease-free planting material was a big challenge which he pioneered. And as a matter of fact, he is the one who paved the way for many students from Banaras Hindu University to come to IARI, because he was always very exploratory in his approach. After doing PhD from IARI, he worked as a postdoctoral fellow at Saga University in Japan and University of California, Riverside. And on coming back, he joined Tata Energy Research Institute as fellow and worked as senior scientist in the Institute of Vegetable Research and as principal scientist and head for almost 5 years as of the Division of Fruits and Horticulture Technology at Indian Agriculture Research Institute. He also served in very many important management positions as Managing Director of National Horticulture Board, Chairman Coconut Development Board, and Executive Director of NOBOT. All these, departments under Ministry of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare, they are so important, and for any single person to have served these three departments is really remarkable. He also served as Board of Directors of World Vegetable Center, and currently as Deputy Director General Horticulture, he is providing dynamic leadership to horticultural growth in the country, which has touched a record production of 329 million tons, surpassing cereals, and with more nutrition, of course. So Dr. Singh is associated at IARI with development of 6 mango varieties, and these varieties are Pusha Pratibha, Shrestha, Pitambar, Lalima, Deepshikha, and Manohari. And these varieties are primarily, meant for export market with colored peel, with long shelf life, and appropriate sweetness, not very high sweetness, because that's not liked in the export market. So this is a phenomenal contribution, and for his outstanding contribution to research, to management, He has been selected as Fellow of National Academy of Agricultural Sciences. It is my proud privilege and pleasure to welcome Dr. A.K. Singh to chair this very prestigious Hari Kishan Sastry Memorial Award lecture on behalf of IARI, entire faculty, students, and everyone. Thank you so much.
Sir, Anil Shastri sir has also joined. Sir, please welcome.
Yeah,
Yes, I did.
Yes.
Thank you, sir. I now humbly request Dr. A.K. Singh, DDG Horticulture Science, the Honorable Chairperson of today's session, to kindly introduce the meritorious awardee of this prestigious award to the august gathering.
Thank you, and good morning to all of you. Before I proceed, I'd like to pay my rich tributes to Adarani Hari Kishan Sastry ji for his great contributions in the field of Indian agriculture, particularly the education part of Indian agriculture. And when we are celebrating this function today, we have with us most revered Anil Sastry ji, Vibhakar Sastry ji, Anish Sastry ji. So on my personal behalf also, and on my part as the DDG of ICR from the Horticulture Division, I welcome you, sir, and pay my rich tribute again to the Sastry ji. We cannot forget his contributions for the agriculture, horticulture, and education in the horticulture. So today, when IARI is celebrating its 60th convocation, I'd like to congratulate Director IARI, Dr. A.K. Singh ji, and Dean, Dr. Rasmi Agrawal ji, and entire fraternity of IARI, who are the campus is so vibrant these days that everybody is moved to enjoy the celebration of these functions, and series of lectures by the coveted personalities have been organized. Really a very, 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 very enriching experience for the students at least. So I'm thankful to IARI, particularly Director and Dr. Rashmi, to having given me this opportunity to become part of this entire function and witness the activities which is going on this whole length of a week or 10 days. And I'd like to congratulate Dr. Anilav Munsi, with whom I share the same floor in the Horticulture Division of IARI. And I'd like to congratulate for such a wonderful and prestigious award, Dr. Munshi. So I'd like to introduce Dr. Munsi. Dr. Munsi is 1961 born, and he received his undergraduate degree in agriculture and animal husbandry from Govind Ballabh Pant University of Agriculture and Technology in 1984, followed by master's and PhD from IARI. He completed his PhD in 1991. And presently he's working as a principal scientist in the same division, vegetable science, from 2008 till date. In the past, he has been, all through he has been working in IARI as a scientist, senior scientist, principal scientist, professor of horticulture, professor of vegetable sciences. And he is, once the professorship was divided in vegetable science and other disciplines of horticulture sections, he is professor of vegetable science from 2013, I think. 2000, yeah. And he has received, I know he has been a very hard-working scientist, very disciplined, very, very, very adjustable scientist. He was awarded Best Teacher Award by IARI, by the Postgraduate School in 2010. And he was also awarded as Dr. Kirti Singh Gold Medal by Horticulture Society of India. He has been working for many organizations, many committees. Some of them are as a member of the working group of the horticulture, plantation crops and organic farming, subgroup 3 on planting material also, constituted by the Planning Commission, Government of India for 11th 5-year plan, 2007-2012. He was also a member of the committee for preparation of the formulation of establishment of an international center for capacity building in Kabul from 2013 to 2015. He also worked as a member of the committee for formulation of the modalities for teaching of the courses and monitoring the other academic activities of Indian Institute of Horticulture, Bangalore of ICR. He also worked as a member committee of the task force for preparation of the self-study accreditation report of IARI 2013-18 period. And also he worked as a member of the PhD entrance examination committee of IARI 13-15, and also the academic council member from 2013-16. And in the last, he also worked as a member standing committee of the scholarship and financial assistance of IARI 2013-16, member RSC committee, CITH, Central Institute of Temperate Horticulture, which is located in Srinagar, Jammu and Kashmir from 2017 and 19. He has been awarded with the Fellow of the Indian Society of Vegetable Sciences and also the Fellow Indian Society of Plant Genetic Resources 2017. With this, may I request Dr. Munshi to go ahead?
Yes, yeah.
So I'd like to request Dr. Anilav Das Munshi to go ahead with the program as chartered. Thank you.
First of all, I convey my sincere thanks to Honorable Chairman for these kind words. So, Honorable Chairman Sir of the session, Dr. Anand Kumar Singh, Honorable Director, Dr. A.K. Singh, Dean Joint Director Research, Dr. Rashmi Agarwal, Madam Rashmi Agarwal, then Dean and Joint Director Education, of course, then Director Extension and Head Division of Vegetable Science, Dr. B.S. Tomar, then all the heads of the division, my colleagues, then student and all students and ladies and gentlemen. So it's my privilege and I'm really thankful to the jury to confer me this award. Of course, at the outset, I convey my Shraddhanjali, Pranam and Naman to late Harikishan Sastri ji, a great visionary, a true friend to the farmers, farming community and agricultural scientists of India. Agricultural research and education reached a new peak under his dynamic leader, new peak as well as due recognition, which used to be deserved under his dynamic leadership when he was Minister of State for Agricultural Education and Research. Pranam sir, Shraddhanjali sir, may your noble soul rest in peace. Om Shanti. I convey my sincere thanks and gratitude to the jury who have selected me for this prestigious award. I also convey my sincere thanks, gratitude, and regards to all my teachers, right from my schooling days, like our biology teacher, who used to teach us biology, and Mr. Subhash Chandra Bangia, and he is the person who has created interest in biological sciences for me. Otherwise, maths and physics was my favorite subject during my schooling days. But he was an excellent teacher, and still 92 years is very active. And I also used to interact him either through telephone or through WhatsApp. Then, after passing my class 12th exam, I took admission in Hansraj College, a very prestigious college in botany honors. At that time, it was very prestigious and was the best college for botany honors. I think still it is. There also, I am fortunate to get many good scientists and good teachers like Dr. Oberoi, Dr. Bhatnagar. Then one young teacher I still remember is very energetic and dynamic, very excellent teacher also. So at that time, my father was in the verge of retirement. So I asked him, "Sir, what is the scope of botany?" So he suggested me that botany as such there is no scope after doing BSc botany. Uh, then he gave his example that for if I want to continue, then I have to continue for MSc and PhD for higher studies. Then he gave an example that botany have a very restricted scope. And then he gave his example that he was a topper. He was a topper in botany, BSc AG, then MSc AG. Then after working 5 years, he had an excellent research paper. Then he joined Hansraj College, and still 6 years he was working as an ad hoc lecturer. So he suggested me to, if I am really want a job after BSc AG, then I should shift to agriculture, because he further suggested me that agriculture, when after doing BSc, you can have a lot of opportunity. Because banks are there, then public sector undertakings are there, then state government jobs are there. And further, if I want to continue my further studies, number of fellowship are there, number of attempts are there, which helped me to reduce the burden to my parents, continue my studies. So I follow his advice and joined Pantnagar in 1991 for BSc Agriculture and Animal Husbandry courses.
Dr. Munshi, are you moving your slides, or you are at the first slide still?
It is first slide, so then I will.
Asha, okay, fine. No, I just wanted to make it sure that because
no. So in Pantnagar, I've been blessed to be taught by some excellent teachers like Dr. B.D. Agarwal, then Dr. Vasudev Singh, then Dr. V.K. Khanna, who used to teach us genetics. Then after completion of my PhD, I got a very good merit in the entrance examination. So my heart was there, genetics and plant breeding, but at that time my father was retired, and I found it is difficult for him to maintain the household with meager pension. So I decided to take horticulture with hope to get job just after my MSc. Then, of course, at that time, Pantnagar, it was MSc horticulture, and most of the courses were being offered to the students are either it is agronomical based or physiological based. In fact, the research that whatever the research that are offered, the research topics offered to the student, that was also agronomical or physiological based, and food was the most priority there. Then fortunately, I got Dr. Priya Ram Singh, a renowned plant physiologist, a renowned plant breeder, and he taught me the basics of vegetable breeding. That further created interest on me in vegetable breeding. Then subsequently, after completion of my PhD, my dream came true when I got admission at IARI, and at IARI I got excellent teachers. I'm fortunate to have some excellent teachers, and my first teacher at IARI is our honorable director. We all know him as an excellent teacher, excellent researcher, and excellent orator. But he has a passion of teaching, and he used to teach students of genetics and plant breeding when he himself was a student. He is a student. So I used to attend his lecture. Then I used to interact personally. Then fortunately, I got Dr. P.S.C. Roy. He as a guide as well as a mentor. He's a practical plant breeder, sound knowledge about the cucurbitaceous crop, plant breeder or other cucurbit breeder. I have a sound knowledge on cucurbitaceous crop. So he suggested me that to be a very good cucurbitter, first you will have to learn the crop husbandry and other things. Crop husbandry, because most of our vegetables they need intensive cultivation and time to time all the cultural practices it should have been done, and then most of these vegetable varieties are highly susceptible to various diseases and pests. So that plant production measure is also one of the important factor. If we get a good crop, then we can successfully carry out our breeding operation more successfully. Then if further gave me some tips about the cucurbitades as vegetables, like lateral bunches of the monoecious varieties having more female tendency, then node at which female flower appeared, that is, the node at which first female flower appeared, that is an indication of earliness. Then one more important thing he told, that while going for a cucurbit breeding, while going for selfing or crossing, one thing I should remember always, that cucurbit is a crop where earlier set fruit does not allow other fruits to set. So it is always better to target the earlier unopened female flower and have to carry out that crossing and selfing. Then I got some other good teachers or excellent teachers like Dr. B.H. Shadri, and renowned cucurbit breeder. And in genetics, I got Dr. K.R. Sarkar and Dr. Munshi Singh. Both were very excellent teachers. I still remember the way of teaching. And then the practical way Dr. Munshi Singh used to teach us for the genetics and plant breeding. And then subsequently, after completion of my PhD in 1991, I joined agricultural research. And subsequently joined in the division in 1993 as a cucurbit breeder. So initially, I have been asked to work on cucumber. Then, of course, apart from cucumber and melon, there are some other crops that there, like loofah, sponge gourd and ridge gourd, and subsequently bitter gourd. And in 2004, I've been asked to work in the improvement of brinjal along with as a co-PI along with Dr. Ravinder Kumar, who was PI at then. So, in fact, what I experienced that North Indian plain is not suitable for breeding cucumber, in the sense cucumber crop is highly thermosensitive in nature, right from germination, growth, development, flowering, fruiting, then fruit set, fruiting, and then seed set and seed development. It needs a specific temperature. If this type of temperature is not available, then there is overall adverse effect on all these parameters. And in North Indian condition and North Indian plains, there is always extreme climatic condition is prevailing in this part. So I took it as a challenge. And then, of course, there are certain advantages in this crop, especially cucumber or ridge gourd or sponge gourd or any other cucurbits. The first thing is that most of these cucurbits are originated from India, and there is enormous genetic variability and diversity. It is existed in nature and still remain untapped or unexplored. So that is the way there is chance to get some good product by utilizing this germplasm. Then second advantage thing in all cucurbits, including cucumber and gourd, is that most of these cucurbits, though they are cross-pollinated, but they are having high inbreeding depression. The reason is that from the ancient time, they are having very low inbreeding depression. The reason is that from the ancient time, they were used to be grown by people in a smaller population, and it is primitive sex form is hermaphrodite in nature. So through evolutionary way, whatever the deleted is allele, they become homozygous and they phase out of the population, and the cucumber or all cucurbits, they maintain a homozygous balance. So whatever the breeding approaches, that is basically for self-pollinated crop, that can be applicable in cucumber and also other cucurbits. So that is one of the advantage. Then when I joined the division, then poinsettia in cucumber, poinsettia was the only variety available to the farmers. It's a basically introduction from UK, and is not preferred by the consumer in the sense it is dark green in color, and dark green in color with what and its taste is not also liked by the consumer. And there is no other varieties or notified varieties which used to be developed by private seed for public seed companies. So it was the only that points apart from points that only the local types are available. And if if we visit the market, we could see that either there is that poinset, dark green color poinset, or there is highly heterozygous material there is with wide range of variability in the respect of shape, size, color, and some are striped, some are non-striped. So this give me insight, and then we started collecting local germplasm from different pockets of India. Whenever we get opportunity, then we used to collect different type of material. Subsequently, I feel that I experienced that this local material which we used to collect from, or we are collecting, they are deserve of germplasm. In the sense, they are being produced by local seed grower, and they produce it without following any principle of seed production technology, like they don't follow the isolation distance on rooting. So I found this materials are the reservoir of germplasm. And if we target those material, then we could get some very good product as per our need. Then subsequently, I'm fortunate also to be a exploration team with the leader of Dr. Umesh Srivastava, and from various pockets. Basically, it's a exploration for northwest Himalayan region and various pockets of north West Himalayan region. We collected lot of germplasm along with Cucumis hardwicke. Cucumis hardwicke is a wide progenitor of cultivated cucurbit, and it is having multiple fruits per node, and it is reported to be resistant to various diseases. We collected large number of, initially in the Ulal forest range, that in the Dehradun, in the interior, we got some pure isolates of Cucumis hardwicke. Then subsequently in Sahasradhara region and other parts like KMT Falls, we got some line, because it is possible with cultivated cucumber. We got some lines which is bigger than the actual hardwicke is very small type, but those lines were a bit bigger, but they carry all the characters of this hardwicke. And this hardwicke, it is reported to be resistant to CMB, downy mildew, and many other diseases. Similarly, the exploration was also conducted at Karo Hills of Meghalayan region, from where we collected lots of material with desirable novelty. Enrichment of germplasm from wild and cultivated species from indigenous and exotic sources with desirable novelty is a prerequisite for any successful breeding program. So a large number of germplasm were collected from NBPGR and other sources. They were maintained, they are evaluated and maintained and utilized in the breeding program. Here, this BC48, normally that local cucumber, it has a tendency to initially become yellow, then brown, even at harvesting stage. But we got a mutant from one of the segregating population, which we found that it remained intact green at the time of harvesting also, even after harvesting, even 3 to 4 weeks after harvesting, it remained intact green. So we found this is a very potential material, because this browning or yellowish is not a consumer preference. So we could utilize this material for development of many good lines. So subsequently, we utilize it also. Then we collected C. etivas. It is a cross between C. sativas and C. hystrix. Then certain other exotic lines like CL773 and others, we found they are highly resistant to downy mildew. Then this Cucumis hardwicke, what I already told you, this is small type, because the photograph is showing it a small type of cucumber, and as I already mentioned, that it's also very resistant to several diseases. Then this seals L749, we found it is highly resistant to powdery mildew resistance. Similarly, the CL748 and CL758. Because this lines, basically, though phenotypically they are not suitable because it don't like with the Indian consumer, but they have some potential. Especially they carry some novel genes like resistance gene. So we utilize them in our breeding program. Then this is a lemon cucumber, lemon shape. It is androecious in nature, or sometimes andromonoecious in nature, and it can be used as a potential blender in gynoecious into gynoecious variety. Then we collected actually carotene-rich cucumber. That is basically it was found in China, Jinsung province. They used to call them as Jinsung Barnagot. It is rich in carotene, so we collected large number of Jampradam having orange flesh color from NBPGR from USA through NBPGR. So we collected and we found a wide range of variability among this. And then the USA people, actually USA, it was introduced from China to USA, and they developed some varieties also by utilizing this line like UM 402, LOM 400, then UM 404. Number of varieties they have developed, but ultimately they rejected it because the appearance of ring. And then most of the time they found that only upon maturity they became orange. So then this is a LOM 400. It's a line we collected from NBPGR. Then fortunately we got some line from Mizoram region like AGMC1 and some other lines. Then we utilize them in our breeding program. Then of course variability is must for any successful breeding program. We try to collect fruit of different shapes and color. Then we got fortunate to get some fruits having multiple fruiting habit. Then DC408, as I told you, they mentioned earlier that it is it is having long extended shelf life. Now, Indian consumers, they prefer long type variety. In the sense, because it's their preference, they don't prefer very short type of variety. So they actually then this type of lines were also collected. And then at the same time, I also collected number of wild species. Though most of these wild species, they are not compatible to the normal cucurbits, but we are exploring the possibility to introduce this line to our cultivated. Now these are some of the wild species of cucumis we collected from NBPGR Thrissur. And then, as I told that they carry resistant to DM, downy mildew, then tomato leaf curl nuclei virus. Again, what I mentioned earlier, that they are not compatible with the normal cultivated cucumber. Only sativas is actually basically it is possible with cultivated cucumber. So this is our challenge, that we'll have to standardize the protocol of embryo rescue to introduce this novel traits like resistant trait to our cultivated variety. So this is already I've shown that DC77, it's a downy mildew resistant line, and basically it was collected from a district of West Bengal, and we found that certain district of West Bengal there is always frequent rain and high humidity, and this downy mildew, this disease is highly conducive when there is high temperature and high humidity. So we collected many lines, most of them are highly heterozygous and segregating. From this line, we got two lines, the DC77 and DC70, and we found them, they carry true nature of resistance, even under natural condition, natural wind condition, as well as under challenge inoculation condition. Then again, as I mentioned earlier, that their consumer preference only long type of varieties. So certain long type of varieties were also collected and utilized in the breeding program. Then we study the carotene content of this AGMC line. AGMC line is a very potential line with respect to carotene content, and we found that normal in cucumber that carotene content is 0, but this 0 or it is negligible. But this AGMC one, it contained a significant amount of carotene even at ripe stage. Otherwise, most of the cases after even at unripe stage. Otherwise, most of the cases at ripe stage they turn yellow. So under unripe stage also they contain significant amount of. Then we carry out the inheritance studies of this stay green line by crossing it with the other line, which has a tendency to become brown and yellowish. And we found that it is controlled by single recessive gene. Then molecular mapping of QTL sequence also carried out and found that this particular trait. It's located in chromosome number 7. So now what we are doing, that we are going for a back cross breeding initially, and further we will try to explore some potential molecular marker to introduce this stay-green trait to our other important line. Then we also studied the inheritance of carotene-rich cucumber, and we found that that it is governed by single recessive gene. If, of course, now F2 and other generation is in progress, F2 back, if B1 and B2, to know the exact nature of inheritance of this dioecious state. Once we come to know, then we'll try to identify some potential marker to introduce this state to our cultivated variety. So here as we have collected or screened number of lines which is resistant to downy mildew, as I mentioned that high temperature and high humidity and high temperature is conducive for this downy mildew resistance, and we find that DC77 and highly resistant to downy mildew, both under challenge as well as under natural conditions. So we cross it with susceptible varieties, and we developed F1, F2, and BC generation. Then this from F4 progenies were involved, and we are in the process of developing real-based mapping population and tutorial mapping of game resistance. Similarly, extended shelf life, this is important character which we got in DC48. So basically, that stay-green trait, we found that it is gone by single discipline, but extended shelf life, it's a complex phenomenon, and there are certain other factors like age of the fruit, firmness of the fruit, that is also responsible for extended shelf life of this line. Then Q12 was detected at chromosome number 4, covering a distance of 4.3 MB, and now it is our approach. It will be our approach to transfer this trait to our cultivated type. Then, on the basis of transcriptomic studies, a web-based portal was developed in collaboration with ICAR, IARI, ICAR, NIB, and we have already applied for its copyright. It will help the cucumber breeder of the throughout the country as well as world who are working on this stay-green trait. Now, development of tropical gynoecious line. You know, whatever the temperature, whatever the gynoecious line it was available to us till now earlier, that is a temperature type, and that stability breaks down if temperature exceeds 30 degrees. So we have some stable gynoecious line which shows stable gynoecious expression even at a temperature of 40 to 5 degree temperature. And this actually one of the segregated population, we found some lines having gynomonoecious state. So we targeted those plants, and through rigorous selection, we came out with 20 lines, 20 gynoecious lines. We characterized them on the basis of size, shape, and other characteristics, bitterness and other characteristics, and we found that these two lines, DGC 102 and DGC 2, they're the most potential line, and DGC 2 is already approved for licensing, and we developed one gynoecious hybrid by utilizing this DGC 2. Then, while working on gynoecious parthenocarpic variety, development of gynoecious parthenocarpic variety, so we found some plants showing multiple variable. It's an important trait. So when we cross it with monoecious variety in F1, we get all the plants. When we cross it with plant having solitary fruiting behavior or flowering behavior, then in F1 we get all the plants showing solitary fruiting behavior. Then subsequently F2 we found that the ratio is near about 3:1. I mean, it is gone by single recessive gene. So we keep this information. Then again we reconfirm it that this multiple distillate behavior, it is gone by single recessive gene. So now we utilize it in our back cross breeding to introduce this potential trait, and then we are in the process of identifying some molecular marker also their objective is to introgress this particular trait to other varieties which is having solitary female flower, with the objective to develop gynoecious parthenocarpic F1 hybrid, which is actually it is a need of the day, need of the hour, just to compete with the private seed company. Now we have collected large number of wild species of Momondica, and we phylogenetical studies were conducted. We studied crossability of this lines. Then, of course, we also studied cytology and molecular as well as morphological diversity, and we corrected the line accordingly. These are the diversity of spine gold, that is Momondica savangulata, with respect to leaf shape, size. And these are the photographs of this line. And then these are the variability in the fruits of this, all these wild species. And from this, on the basis of that, we developed a new species. We developed a new species. Earlier, that Cymbellaria, it was under Lufa. But on the basis of this phylogenetical studies, this new species, M. Cymbellaria, earlier it used to be named as Lufa Cymbellaria, but now it has been named as Momondica Cymbellaria. Then we collected a large number of wild species of sponge gourd also, with the objective to study with the objective to study the phylogenetic relationship of sponge gourd. Apart from this, we have a Lufa hermaphrodite and other acatibular species as well as. So it is basic objective to study phylogenetic studies. And then we have a large collection of Satputia. Satputia, it is a hermaphrodite variety of ridge gourd. It's a landrace from Bihar, but it is very early in maturity, and it bears fruits in structure. So we studied the inheritance, and we found that monoecious is dominant over hermaphrodite, and then solitary fruiting behavior, it is dominant over cluster bearing. On the basis of that knowledge, from segregating generation from F2 and onwards, we could develop a line of ridge gourd, normal ridge gourd having cluster bearing habit. Otherwise, normal ridge gourd is always having a solitary fruiting habit. Now, the development of tropical gynoecials for northern plains, as I already mentioned that we developed two gynoecious line which showed true gynoecious expression at a high temperature of 40 degrees centigrade. As earlier, whatever the gynoecious line we are having, that were of temperate, that were all of temperate origin. So this gynoecious line, it has a certain advantage that it bears all female flowers, and it excludes manual pollination because it's during hybrid seed production. Then, since it is a gynoecious line, it bears all female flowers. So we standardize the different growth regulators, induction of male flower, just to maintain this gynoecious line. And we found that GA3 earlier, many in the literature, GA3 was advocated or referred to be used for maintaining this gynoecious line. We found, first of all, it is very costly, around 15 milligram to 20 milligram per liter it's needed for induction of male flower. Then it causes excess step elongation and malformed male flower. And sometimes its behavior is quite erratic. It doesn't produce sufficient male flower. So we rejected it. Then silver nitrate, though it is effective, but it is phytotoxic, it causes burning of leaves. So we found that silver thiosulfate, it is the most appropriate or most recommended growth regulator for induction of male flower in gynoecious state. Then we studied the gynoecious state also, and we found that it is governed by single dominant gene, F gene. And then we utilize this gynoecious line in our breeding program by utilizing gynoecious into monoecious line or gynoecious into gynoecious line. So we found that gynoecious into monoecious hybrid are most preferable Indian condition because it is predominantly gynoecious in nature. Then it is prolific and early, and it is having long extended period. I mean, farmers can go for sequential harvesting just to avoid the market glut. And since there is no need of pollinator also, but gynoecious into gynoecious, they are highly stable. They carry only female flower. So there is problem of pollination. So actually, many of the gynoecious and into gynoecious hybrids are in the market and were basically by private seed companies, and they use 10% of the monoecious line, which act as a pollinizer. But that is also a problem. It affects the uniformity of the hybrid, number one. Then, as per Seed Act, it is not valid. So now we decided to go for only gynoecious into gynoecious hybrid because of the certain advantage which I have mentioned. So these are the gynoecious line, tropical gynoecious line. And then by utilizing these gynoecious and monoecious line, we developed number of hybrids. And among this DGCH8, we found is most promising, showing significant higher yields than monoecious hybrid, National Tech Panch Shankar Khira. And subsequently, it was identified in the group meeting and also notified. This is the photographs of this gynoecious line. Now, we observed that integration of this gynoecious trait in cucumber through marker state back crossing or normal conventional breeding, it takes a long time. So then we have a number of gynoecious into gynoecious hybrid. So we standardize the protocol for development of haploid through gynogenesis, and we take ovaries 1 day before anthesis, and we standardize the media combination. The haploid generation, haploid embryos are now under regeneration stage. It is under hardening stage. Once we get the plants, some good plants or some healthy plant, then we further go for pulsing treatment to get the diploid plants to double haploid strand. With the objective here is to get several gynoecious line under different genetic background. Now, in a DBT funded project, we have integrated this gynoecious trait to our variety cucumber. Utha is a very famous variety, very popular variety among the farmers, and normal back crossing methods and other normal conventional method is carried out up to BC2 F3. Then we carried out foreground selection on the basis of true gynoecious trait, and simultaneously the background selection was also carried out by utilizing certain molecular markers, several molecular markers, and we found many of these molecular markers are closely linked to F locus of the gynoecious trait. These are some of the other markers. And then we come up with certain robust marker, which is closely linked F locus of the gynoecious trait. And these are some other markers we found polymorphic. And on the basis of that linkage map was constructed, wherein we found that marker, especially SSR1324, it is closely linked to gynoecious trait. Now, we utilize this marker for integration to our variety, as I already mentioned that whatever our variety, even Puta, Uday, or is our tropical gynoecious line, they are good, but they are having very short size, and consumer always prefer a long type, thin and long type. So we have some potential lines like Fajava selection and VRS 1-1, and then of course this DC40, it is stay green line, as I mentioned earlier. So by utilizing this marker, this robust marker, we are trying to introduce this gynoecious trait to this popular variety. Now, development of tropical gynoecious line in bitter gourd. Actually, initially we isolate the bitter gourd from Momordica muritica. It's a Momordica Charicia variety Muritica. It is possible with Momertica. And in one of the segregating population, we found some plant showing gynoecious state. So we isolated that. And then we studied the inheritance. It is governed by single discipline. And by utilizing this knowledge, we have transferred this to this gynoecious state to our most popular variety, Pusa domosci and Pusa bices. And both these lines are actually licensed by MN Ankur Seed and of course recently by that Namdhari Seed Bangalore. And by utilizing this gynoecious line, we developed two F1 hybrid. That is Pusa hybrid 4 and Pusa hybrid 5. And these two are the Pusa hybrid 4 has already been notified, and Pusa hybrid 5 has been released by Delhi State Subcommittee. And these are the two first gynoecious hybrid in the country. So this is the character of this one of the gynoecious line. Then, as I told, that we have a large collection of Satputia, and from Satputia we developed one cluster bearing bridgeboard by utilizing Satputia. Then we cross this Satputia line with our monoecious line. Satputia, it's a hermaphrodite line, and we cross with monoecious line. In F1, we found all the plants having monoecious behavior. And F2, we get a ratio of 9:3:3:1, 9 monoecious, 3 andromonoecious, 3 gynomonoecious, and 1 hermaphrodite. So this hermaphrodite sex format is governed by single discipline. And on the basis of this information obtained, we developed certain gynoecious line. This is the first time this gynoecious line it is reported from India, and we found some gynoecious line which shows stable gynoecious expression. These are some of the gynoecious line we could isolate by utilizing Satputia, the male parent, by crossing with Pusa Navnutan. And we found that though they are true gynoecious type, but the size is not as per the need of the consumers. So still we are carrying out selection to get some line with thin and long, and then of course we cross it with long variety, and we got cross with some long variety, and this DRGGL8, this gynoecious line we found most promising, and we cross it with one long line we are having monoecious line, and we got a number of hybrids which showing high heterosis, earliness, and other desirable character along with long fruit character as per the need of the consumer. Now, development of gynoecious parthenogonal line for protected cultivation. That protected cultivation become very popular among the farmers because of mainly small and marginal farmers. The reason is that government of India is giving subsidy, and these farmers, they are getting a remunerative price by selling this off-season produce with a very high price. But unfortunately, so far, when the program was started, I started this program in 2008-9. No parthenogonal variety from public sector were available. The only material or only variety available to the farmers are F1 hybrid, which were being marketed by private seed company at a very high cost. At that time, the seed was used to be sold by on seed basis 16 to 17 rupees initially. Then gradually, many other companies have come in fray, and now the seed rate has been reduced. So, keeping in this view, then we started that breeding program of gynoecious parthenocarpic cucumber varieties. So this program was started in 2008 and 9, and the initial material was some of the important robust F1 hybrid of private seed companies. Then we broke them through silver thiosulfate, and then we carry out individual plant selection. Initially, we found many plants showing total male flowers, some 50% male, 50%. So we targeted only predominantly gynoecious line, and through predominantly gynoecious line, we could get around 17 lines which showed true gynoecious and parthenocarpic expression. So these are some of the lines, 17 parthenocarpic lines we evaluated that we developed from 2008, and that we came up with this line in 2016. And then among this, we found one line which is very promising. So we carry out that evaluation of these lines under polyhouse during winter season. Started this evaluation from 2012 to 13 and 13-14, and we found this GAPC6 showed significantly higher yield as well as higher percentage of heterosis or yield over this check. Though yield is a bit lower at par with Keon, the best variety, but still it is an open pollinated variety, and that way it is extremely good because naturally hybrid is supposed to be giving much higher yield than that of the open pollinated variety. Similarly, we carried out this evaluation throughout the year, and we found it is showing significantly higher yield than most of the check, even private companies like Abiva, Asma. So then again, 2017-18, and on the basis of this this variety, USA Parthenochromic Cucumber 6, it was released, and it showed an yield of, or it gave an yield of 126 ton per hectare, or 1,260 kg per meter squared, and this yield was obtained during off season when no other cucumber varieties are available. So licensing of these varieties are in progress, and hopefully many of the company will come. But at the same time, we are selling these varieties also at the rate of 4 rupees per seed, and we are getting many farmers and many other from State Agriculture University. We are getting the order, and there is high demand of this variety. So here my apprehension is that it is notified varieties, and we are giving to everyone. So there is chances that many of the private company agents, they may come and they may take this variety. They might have taken also, right now I don't know, and they will utilize it in their breeding program. And this cucumber, basically its acreage is very low, and it is grown in a scattered area. So it is very difficult to judge or to find that who is the person who has taken this sign and utilize, who is the company, and it is utilized in their hybrid breeding program. So this is a challenge for us. So this is my apprehension also. Then now we are keeping in this view, since this is a highly, very highly valuable material. So now we are giving emphasis or giving focus only on gynoecious parthenochromic F1 hybrids, because just to prevent the misuse and just for the protection. So we develop number of gynoecious F1 hybrid. Then these are the 12 gynoecious F1 hybrids so far we have evaluated, and we found DAPC4 is the most promising hybrid, and we have already submitted the proposal to our head of the division. We intend to release it through IARI variety release committee for its true. Let it be identified by IARI variety identification committee, then so that it can be released to the state subcommittee for further notification. Now, whatever the gynoecious line we are having even by private seed companies, they are dark green in color, but consumer preference is always light green color with stripy, tender, and crispy flesh. So this two lines, those gynoecious particular line we got, it is in pipeline. So in future we propose these two lines, and hope this two line will be very popular among the farmers as well as consumers. So we demonstrated this Pusa Particular Cucumber 6 in under DC Bigyan Mela as well as our unit of vegetable research and demonstration. Then we distributed seed to various state agriculture universities, and we got like Kashmir University of Agriculture to Srinagar and many other state agriculture university as well as KVK, and we are getting a very good response of this variety. Now, over the years, we found that seed production, it's a difficult proposition, particularly this gynoecious parthenochromic cucumber. and there is a need of proper time of pollination, the number of pollination to be attempted, number of fruits to be written. Otherwise, earlier we used to pollinate once, and then of course season, which is also very important. So, and we at the earlier we don't used to get sufficient seeds because we used to get seed only on the distal end. So we felt that there is a need to standardize the seed production technology of this variety. So in collaboration with Seed Science and Technology, one of the PhD students he carried out, and he got a very good information that time of pollination, season, time of pollination, number of number of pollination to be attempted, number of fruits to be written. That is most important aspect. So we followed the findings, and a large amount of, when we carry out the seed production, and we produce a very good quantity of seed, and whatever the seed produced by us, it was almost sold by our seed store. Now he is one of the farmer, and he is a progressive farmer. He is MSc AG, and he has been growing this our Pusa parthenocarpic cucumber 6 for the last 5 years. And his say is that it is, it is having long extended harvesting period as compared to private seed company, and it is tolerant to many of the disease. And he is very much interested to get the license of this variety. And he was supposed to come, but due to this pandemic situation, he could not come to IARI. Then we carried out the inheritance of parthenocarpic studies, and then we found that it is governed by incomplete dominant gene. Under homozygous condition, homozygous dominant condition, it is true parthenocarpic, whereas under homozygous recessive condition, it shows non-parthenocarpic behavior, and under heterozygous condition, there is select parthenocarpy. Then there are some other reports also where there's reporting there. It is a report that it is governed by multiple complex gene action. So we are in a position, or rather we are in a process rather to study the exact nature of inheritance of this dynasty line. But apparently we found that it is governed by single incomplete dominant. Now then, pickling cucumber, we started pickling cucumber at the same time when we started that development of gynoecious parthenocarpic cucumber, and it is a gynoecious parthenocarpic pickling cucumber. It has a long demand. It is having very high export value, especially to USA, UK, Germany, and it is preserved in different forms like vinegar or brine solution. And most of the southern states, basically, they have a very high export of this variety. They are basically they got the seed material from their importer at very high price, and then the fresh product, it's some sort of buyback variety. This importers take away the end product from them. So keeping in view, it was in fact suggestion of one of the resource person in IRC, and then we started this breeding program, taking this two varieties. At the time, two varieties was only there. Mainly, it was being sold by Manam Seed Company, Apex and Stimora. Then afterward, then one more part has also come. And this company, they used to sell it as a gherkin, but basically it is not gherkin. Gherkin is altogether different thing. That is Cucumis angelia. This is Saribas only, but small size. And it is graded on the basis of the size.
Dr. Munshi, it's outstanding contribution. May I request you to kindly sum up, because we have next award lecture at 12:15 schedule.
Okay. On the basis of that, sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you,
sir. I will complete within 5 minutes. Okay. Then this is the other product we developed, and these are the other products. Then resistance breeding also, we come to a conclusion that it is governed by single recessive in the CMB resistance, and then also coming to conclusion that this downy mildew resistance is governed by single recessive gene. We identified some lines which are too resistant to Ganesh Estate. Then we developed two highly resistant tomato leaf curl resistance line, and we found that this character, this resistance is gone by single dominant gene, and we utilize in our other line to develop F1 hybrid, which will be resistant to tomato leaf curl virus. And this line, it was released by the State Seed Committee, and it is resistant to tomato leaf curl virus. And this number of varieties has been developed, and this Pusa Uday, it was developed by a local collection, highly heterogeneous material we collected from Raebareli, as I mentioned earlier. Similarly, Pusa Barka, it was developed to begin view the need of the farmers, because it's a variety which is suitable for Kharif season. Similarly, Pusa Parthenogar 6, as I mentioned, Pusa long grain, because earlier, whatever the variety we are having, they have short tape. Pusa long grain, it's a long type of variety. Then Pusa Gynoecious cucumber hybrid 80, the first gynoecious cucumber hybrid from the country. Then Pusa pickling cucumber, if it is released, it will be also the first Pusa pickling cucumber hybrid from the country. Then the other crops also, we developed number of varieties. Then Pusa Sneha RDR, we have only Pusa Supriya variety, which is light green in color having thin skin. So this variety, it is dark green in color as per the consumer proportion, and having thick skin suitable for long distance transportation. Similarly, Pusa tested the first hybrid by public sector on sponge gourd. Then Pusa, it's a predominantly gynoecious lines of breeder goat. Then Pusa hybrid 4 and 5. These are the two hybrids, first hybrid developed by the public sector. And then Pusa Nutan, it's a improvised variety over Pusa Bazar. Then Pusa, it's similar to that of pointed gourd, and it can be successfully grown during winter season as well as during spring, summer season, even rainy season. I mean, either open field condition or under net house. And these are the other varieties of brinjal where it was developed by us, where I was PI. Now, this is a success story. This farmer has been growing this variety for the last 6 years, and he's getting very good profit. And the rate he's getting in season, it is more than double than that of private seed company highways. And now he has become a registered seed product of this variety. Now, these are the 5 lines. It was registered to NBPGR, and these are the DSG 6, 7. It is recently identified, and number of a large amount of money has been generated through revenue. Then these are the line approved for licensing. And then whatever the breeding approach, breeding procedure adopted by us, the results were published in reputed journal, reputed international, reputed journal. These are some of this, whatever the like inheritance studies and inheritance studies of different diseases, then inheritance studies of gynoecious state, and all this, then identification of some potential marker linked with the tomato leaf curl or scab marker. So all this, the breeding approach, or all the information
Dr. Munshi,
that is
kindly, Dr. Munshi, sorry to interrupt.
These are the students.
Kindly wind up quickly, because we have already passed the time.
These are the
yes.
And these are my students, yes. And 25, actually 153 papers were published. 6 to 7, actually 3 papers is above 3, and these are the different award which has been confirmed to me, and I convey my sincere thanks to all. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Munshi.
Thank you, sir.
Unshare your slide, please.
Another?
Please unshare your slides.
Yeah. Share.
So thank you, Dr. Munshi, for outstanding presentations with full of contents. I know. I mean, it would have been nice to have more time, but I know the IARI is constrained because another presentation, another session is lined up already, and we are already late by 20 minutes, I think. But anyway, I'll cut down on my part. I will take very little time. From the presentations, one thing is very clear, Dr. Munshi, that you have taken a very, you have exhibited an approach of the partnership, actually. You started the exploration and you took the institutional instrument, the NBPGR for collection, of the germplasm resources for a variety of crops. I think the crops that have been listed here, given to me, I think you have worked in your career more than 7-8 different crops, and with outstanding contributions, not only varieties, matching production technologies, also the lines and breeding lines and the approach where you have combined to converge for the development of varieties is the traditional system of breeding and also the modern tools which is available today, the genomic informations and the linkage map. And I'm happy to note that these combinations are going to make me more positive for new set of varieties, new generation of varieties for these crops which are going to be produced for urbanization or urban areas or even the rural areas because the demand is rising. Another thing I notice is that you have guided a dozen of students, I think 17, 18 PhDs and 6, 8 MSc students. And what you have done in the process is that you have trained your students in these areas. That as you know, that in India, more than 125,000 hectare area is there in the greenhouse cultivation. So more than 60% area is under vegetable crops. And in 60%, this 60% is predominantly occupied by tomato, capsicum, cucumber, and very small area is coming in chilies. Of course, new set of varieties can be taken up. For want of the matching varieties, we are unable to. So your contribution in terms of developing a new varieties, Ganessus lines of the cucumber will be a slam dunk. Because, you know, for 1 hectare area, you need something like 6,000 plants in an acre area in greenhouse cultivation. And if the cost of the individual seed is, I know, it started with 70, 80 rupees each seed. And today it has come down because of the competition in the global companies of the seed industry in India and the global also. 5, 6, 7, 8 rupees, depending on the varieties, the trait in them. So, this technology is going to be the indigenous one, indigenous crops. Of course, this crop has extended in the tropical and subtropical belt of the other parts of the world because this vegetable crop is highly nutritious. It's going to be, for Indian farmers, either in open conditions because it's OP, and for captive cultivation also. This is going to be a very useful material where the cost of cultivation is going to be down. And this is in sync with the Prime Minister's call that how to cut down the cost of production. How जब हम लोग आज अमृत महोत्सव की तैयारी कर रहे हैं 75 सालों से हम इंडिपेंडेंट ऑपरेशंस इंडिपेंडेंट पॉलिसी बनाए हैं, इंडिपेंडेंट प्रोडक्शन सिस्टम को ऑपरेट किए हैं, लेकिन सीड हमारे पास कुछ क्रॉप्स ऐसी हैं हम लोग अभी भी इंपोर्ट कर रहे हैं. अगर इसमें सफलता आप दिला सकते हैं किसानों को, I know you have presented that many farmers are cultivating on large scales with greater profit and greater interest, and area is expanding in regions. I believe when you come up next year with the combination of the new varieties, when you are going to have the cucumber, new set of cucumber, new generation of cucumber varieties, which is biofortified through the tools and technologies, informations, and your experience imbued together. I think this will be a win-win situation for both the stakeholders, for farmers, and also this is going to bring laurels to the Indian Agricultural Research Institute. And I know under the dynamic leadership of Dr. A.K. Singh ji and the academic leadership of Rashmi under him, I think you'll be able to develop it. And I think there won't be any shortfall in the resources that you need to develop this kind of material for yourself, for the country, for the farmers, so that you can take advantage of, in nutshell, of 4 things. Once the urbanization is rising and we are in the process of developing the supply chain system to meet the requirement of supplies in urbanization, I know that you also know that by the turn of 2050, more than 60% population of India is going to live in the city areas. Supply chain is developing. However, with the vertical system, horticulture, I say this one, if these varieties can be promoted in the new format of production streams, I think, and we can expand mainstreaming in this particular area with the available tools and technologies, with the technical backup, because I know it's a knowledge intensive, technology intensive, and risk intensive crop also. Therefore, you need to have, you have to win the trust of the farmers, trust of the investors, so that the trust does not wobbles. Otherwise, any investor would not come in these areas. An entire production stream that we dream today will be badly affected. I believe the variety that you have presented here, not only the cucumber, but many other set of crops, the cucumber, bitter gourd, brinjal, tomato, and other fellow counterparts of the cucurbitaceous families, they will provide a new opening for off-season production of the vegetables, where the resources can be spread evenly and seasonably, so that the profit goes to the farmers, cropping intensity rises, and you are able to produce with the higher intensity of the cropping system in India. This is going to raise the income, more investment, more profitability, more. This will be a very telling story, success stories to the farmers in the neighboring areas. New set of students, those who exit from the universities or colleges, IARI or other academic institutions, when they are trained and they would like to develop themselves into an entrepreneur, so that they are not going for the job in the government sector, but they're going to develop themselves on the startup and present a new role model to the new generations. So income, pro-investment, off-seasonality, rich source of bioactive compounds and polyphenols, particularly in cucumber and these set of crops. This is going to be a really win-win situation for each and every stakeholder. This will be encouraging to the Government of India and investors. With this, I'd like to congratulate you once again.
Thank you, sir.
And again, I thank Dr. Rashmi and Dr. A.K. Singh, Director of IARI, for giving me a chance to speak here on this particular occasion, which exposed me for different materials, new lines, new varieties, new approaches, and your Dr. Munsi's plan for the next few years or decades. Thank you so much, Dr. Munsi. All the best.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you, Dr. Munsi, for excellent presentation, outstanding contribution, voluminous work, and very nicely, in fact, summarized by the chairperson as to how we establish linkage with the industry, with protected cultivators, with farmers, to address the problem of availability of quality seed, particularly when we talk of protected cultivation, which is a major concern, and developing a complete value chain in popularizing these new sets of varieties, which are predominantly ganaceous in case of cucumber, and which can help in enhancing the farmer's income. Very nicely, it has been summed up by the chairperson. Thank you, sir, for sparing your time.
Thanks to everyone. Thanks
and being with us. Thanks a lot. And over to Rashmi for final words of thanks before we go to the next session.
Thank you, sir. Before we begin a formal vote of thanks, I would like to first congratulate Dr. A.D. Munshi for getting this prestigious award and very comprehensive lecture given by him and very nicely summarized by our chairperson, Dr. A.K. Singh. So chairperson, Dr. A.K. Singh, who chaired this session, and the family members of Dr. Shri Hari Krishna Shastri ji and our director, all the distinguished attendees, heads, professors, all of you who joined this. I am thankful to all of you that you joined this program, you attended this lecture, a very, very comprehensive lecture given by Dr. A.D. Munshi. So with these words, I think we can end here, and we will have to start the new session because it is going to begin right away. Thank you so much, each one of you, from core of my heart, that you got connected and joined and attended the lectures. It's a good number, and thank you, each one of you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks.
So should we begin right away, or we can have a break of a few 5 minutes or so?
Chairman
sir, को देख लीजिए. Chairman sir is not joined, I think.
Yes, madam, he has joined.
Yeah, good morning to all of you.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, welcome, sir. Good morning. Good morning, sir.
You can take a break or you can start as you wish.
You can start also.
Thank you, sir. Welcome and very good afternoon. I'm sorry for making you wait for some time. but still we are on time, maybe 5 minutes late. We can start, Dr. Rasmi.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
I request Angel.
Anilab, you can switch off. Huh? Yeah, please.
Okay.
Dr. Rasmi, please go ahead.
Yes, sir. Yes, she's starting. Angel.
IARI fraternity, galaxy of intellectuals, ladies and gentlemen. A very good afternoon to one and all. Respected dignitaries, Dr. A.K. Singh, Deputy Director General, Agricultural Extension, Dr. A.K. Singh, Director, Vice Chancellor, IARI, Dr. R.N. Padaria, the awardee of the Second Best Agricultural Extension Scientist Award, the Head and Professor of Division of Agricultural Extension, IARI, Dr. Rashmi Agarwal, Dean and Joint Director, Education, the heads of different divisions, senior faculties, and students. On behalf of the Postgraduate School of IARI, faculty and students, I welcome you to the third award lecture series. In the forenoon, we had excellent presentations by the recipients of the Sukumar Basu Memorial Award and the recipient of the Shri Hari Shastri Krishna Memorial Award. Now we will commence with the presentation by the recipient of the Best Agricultural Extension Scientist Award. This is the second time that this award is being given, and it is awarded to scientists who are working in Indian agriculture for their outstanding contribution in the field of agricultural extension. The objective of the award is to motivate the agricultural extension scientists by recognizing their outstanding contribution to agricultural extension research, education, and outreach in India. To begin with, I kindly invite Dr. Rashmi Agarwal, the Dean and Joint Director Education, to give us the welcome address and to brief the audience about the award.
Thank you, Dr. Angel. Good afternoon, everyone, and a very warm welcome on this award lecture, which is Second Best Agriculture Scientist Award. First of all, Dr. A.K. Singh, Deputy Director, Agriculture Extension, ICR, and who is chairing this session. Dr. R.N. Padaria, Principal Scientist and Head Division of Agriculture Extension, IRI, who is the awardee, winner of this award, which is the Second Best Agriculture Scientist Award. Dr. Ashok Kumar Singh, our Honorable Director and the Vice Chancellor, IARI. All distinguished guests, PD, Head of the Division, professors, faculty, students, ladies and gentlemen. It is really a great pleasure for me on behalf of Director and on my own behalf to welcome all of you on this very, very nice Second Best Agriculture Extension Scientist Award, which is being given to our Dr. Ravindra Padaria. So we are very delighted and we warmly welcome our chairperson, Dr. A.K. Singh, Deputy Director General Extension on this occasion, who will be chairing this session. I warmly welcome Dr. Ravindra Padaria, who will be receiving this award. And at the same time, I welcome Dr. A.K. Singh, Director IRI, and all other dignitaries who have joined this lecture award, and all the faculty, students, and all others. Before I ask Angel to further proceed, I would like to briefly tell about this award. This IRE instituted this award as the title as Best Agriculture Extension Scientist Award. Biannually, it is given to the scientists or academicians of Indian nationality from all branches of agricultural sciences as listed in Agricultural Research Service of ICR. The award carries a sum of rupees 50,000 and a commendation certificate, which shall be presented at the Institute convocation scheduled to be held on February 11, 2022. And rest is before you, Dr. R.N. Padaria. So before we begin, over to Angel.
You are mute, Angel. I guess this is my turn now.
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much.
Yes,
Thank you very much. And it's my proud privilege and pleasure to welcome Dr. A.K. Singh, Deputy Director General Extension, to chair this very important award lecture, which is given to Best Agricultural Extension Scientist. And congratulations to Dr. Ravindra Padaria, our own Head Division of Agriculture Extension and very committed worker. And to chair the session, as I said, we have Professor Dr. A.K. Singh. He obtained his PhD degree in Agricultural Extension from Chandrasekhar Azad University of Agriculture and Technology, Kanpur, And he served there for decades in varying capacity, looking after the extension services of the university before he joined ICAR as General Coordinator. Presently, as Deputy Director General Extension, he is guiding and managing entire frontline extension system and Krishi Vigyan Kendras of the country. And major initiative that he is pursuing are Farmer First, ARIA, Coordination and Network Research in Extension and Cluster Management, and Demonstration of Pulses and oilseed crops. He is responsible for launching several new initiatives in Extension system, which include Value Addition and Technology Incubation Center Agriculture, popularly known as Vatika, Knowledge System and Homestead Agriculture Management in tribal areas, known as Chamta, and Nutrition-Sensitive Agriculture Resource and Innovation, called NARI. In fact, all students and faculty members should be aware of these words because we hear about Vatika, Chamta, NARI, but what they stand for, it is very important to know. And these are all very important initiatives by Dr. A.K. Singh. Farm Innovation and Resource Management, ICT initiative, including VKVK, KVKNet, and Mobile-Based Agro Advisory through M-Kisan portal, which covers more than 1 crore farmers in the country, is a major initiative by Dr. Singh. Also initiated the first virtual extension through 2.0 portal, having both read and write option and online monitoring of KVKs. As director of IARI for almost 2 years, he played a very important role in pushing major initiative and brought an excellent film on IARI, which we take this opportunity to display this film whenever we have any visitor coming from outside the country to give a glimpse of the overall activities of IARI in 12 minutes. Also, he was instrumental in bringing out a publication on key technologies of IARI, about 17 technologies which were very important till then, and they were compiled in form of good photographs and a brief write-up about these, which has become very handy to offer to any visitors and guests who come to IARI, and it's widely appreciated. We, as a matter of fact, need to update it, and that's my request to our extension scientist, Dr. Padaria, to take that initiative and do it so that we can take now whatever new has been done afterwards. Dr. Singh is fellow of National Academy of Agricultural Sciences, and above all, he's a wonderful human being, a wonderful person. His ability to manage even under most stressful situation is remarkable. I have never seen him in anger. He's so calm and quiet and always a smile on his face. It's something to emulate. Thank you, sir, for sparing your time and being with us to chair this session. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. May I now humbly request Dr. A.K. Singh, the chairperson of today's session, to kindly introduce the eminent speaker and the awardee of this prestigious award to the August gathering.
Dr. A.K. Singh, Honorable Director IRI, and Dr. Rasmi Agarwal ji, Dean and Joint Director IRI, Dr. R.N. Padaria, Head and Professor Division of Agricultural Extension, and who is recipient of the second Best Agricultural Extension Scientist Award. All the faculty members from IRI, I can see many of them. The first screen shows Dr. Vishwanathan. Many maybe, of course, I see 561 persons joining this one. So it's a happy occasion for IRI, and I congratulate the entire IRI fraternity for this kind of occasion which they are going to celebrate. The award is a very prestigious one, which Dr. R.N. Padaria has bagged, and I will congratulate on my own behalf and behalf of all extension scientists in the country. And he is only the second recipient after Dr. J.P. Sharma. Many of us know, but very specifically it is presented before me to be presented to Dr. Padaria's achievements over the years. He is working as professor and head in the Division of Spiritual Extension, IARI. Has more than 27 years of experience in research, teaching, and extension education. Basically, his work has been on extension systems, climate change adaptation, farmers participatory research, IT case, socioeconomic and environmental implications-based research. Gender empowerment is another area of concern on which he has been working. Having more than 15 years of teaching research, and I personally know the kind of contributions Dr. Padaria has made in the education system related to extension. 2-3 new courses were introduced in IARI, and he was a lead person being professor in the division to take those courses forward. Courses not only meant for the extension students, but the students of the other disciplines also. So for that also I congratulate, and he has been teaching courses like methods of social sciences, advances in agricultural extension, impact evaluation, assessment techniques, and research ethics and rural development programs also. He has been dealing in the teaching programs, and very efficiently he has been doing all good. He has bagged many awards. One is the Best Teacher Award of IARI for his outstanding contributions. Then for outstanding research on socioeconomic assessment, he was awarded Jawaharlal Nehru Award by ICAR in PhD and received ICAR's Bharat Ratna Dr. C. Subramanian Award for outstanding teacher, as well as Swami Sahajanand Saraswati Award of ICAR for outstanding extension work in Mango. He has been recipient of other awards also by many societies, and we see Dr. Padaria, a person who always, you can say, busy with different tasks and has been doing all very efficiently. And I also find him that a kind of gentleman, and also some of the courses which he teaches, probably very few of the extension scientists are taking, and they are not taking that much interest what he sees. Basically the research in extension. And that is what we have been expecting from IARI to take lead extension research in the country. He is also heading a network research project on extension. And probably this is first of its kind in the country, which he is taking across the country. Besides, he is a great human being, all of us know, and all the time busy with assignments which are given to him. And many of the new things, particularly in the education and research sectors, I find from his side, which is coming. And I hope that with this award, he will be able to provide more, you can say, value to the science of extension, which he is dealing. And IARI taking a lead, and Dr. Padaria being heading that task, educating the scientists across the country in extension research. And that is what I expect and hope, that being a best extension scientist means not only the extension work, but the research in extension, what he has been dealing in most of his career. So with these few words, I congratulate Dr. Padaria for his wonderful achievements and also the kind of work he is taking, and he has been doing across, I think, 27 years of service. So thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. With the permission of the chair, I take great pleasure in inviting the recipient of this year's second best Agricultural Extension Scientist Award, Dr. R.N. Padaria, to deliver his award lecture.
Honorable Chairman, respected Director Sir, Dean Madam, dignitaries, ladies and gentlemen. It's really a proud moment for me to be here with all of you to make a small presentation related to my salient achievements. But before I proceed, I must say it is a kind of coincidence that this award was conceptualized and implemented by Honorable Chairman Sir himself when he was Director IARI. And it is a proud privilege for me to make this presentation before him. And sir, with all your blessings and all your guidance, the extension system in country has witnessed a sweeping change, right from fundamentals in research or on-farm extension or policy orientation. Several dimensions, sir, you have given to us, and maybe little bit we could follow it, and I shall make a brief presentation regarding this, sir. So all my work, what I conceived, I've made into two common words, that is participatory extension. Various forms of extension we have witnessed, various agencies are there, public-private partnership. So many forms are there, but what fascinated me, it is participatory extension. And that too, another stalwart, Professor Y.P. Singh always used to tell when he was professor, we were students here, listen to the farmers. And that gives the way how to engage the farmers for extension perspective. And sir, rightly you have conceptualized another mega project, Farmer First. So in that direction, some of the achievements, what I could do with my efforts, I'd like to share before you. So I just tried to find it out, what would be the extension approaches and models which can bring farmers closer, not only for acceptance of the technology, but also in kinds of assessment, refinement, and dissemination in all perspective. So I tried to venture into several forms. One is community-based, other is ICT-enabled, social learning framework, convergence-led extension, livelihood-based, gender empowerment, school children engagement, entrepreneurship development, and also technology assessment. So I'll start with how we proceeded for climate change adaptation, where the community-based extension proved to be much useful. So what we had under NAIP project, that was World Bank project for enhancing the adaptive capacity of the farmers, scientists of the team, they selected many of the technological options which can be given to the farmers. And when the first interaction was made with the farmers, they were baffled what kinds of changes we are going to bring in one crop.
Dr. Manjaya, please contact him. Looks like he's lost connection.
Yes, Dr. Burman. Dr. Burman.
Yes, sir.
Please check where's the problem is at his end, I think. This
Yes, that's like.
I'll check, sir.
We will rejoin, I think. Dr. Padaria, you are muted.
Sir, the problem was with the network here in the division. I also faced the same. So sir is again resharing.
Slides I have said, is it there? So different criteria and different options the farmer selected. First was related to water use efficiency, how we can enhance it. Then for change of variety and going for agro techniques or crop diversification and non-farm enterprises. Accordingly, we thought that how best we can convince the farmers to look for different, I think my slides are visible there. How the adaptation options can be brought to the farmers.
Make it slideshow, Dr. Padaria.
How the different adaptation options can be brought into the domain of the farmers. So we try to start providing them the opportunities for the different varieties, short durational varieties, which can consume less water for paddy. And also at that time, there was a terminal heat stress. So WR544 IRI's variety that was more prominent, but farmers were using PBW343. So we tried to make certain changes at that time. SD2967 also had come. And also we tried to promote more of the diversification of crops with protected cultivation. So ultimately, some of the NRM interventions were also required related to micro irrigation, pipeline, zero tillage, laser leveling, mulching, direct seeded rice, SRI, and green manuring. But it was a kind of all new phrases for them. And some had some experiences, but many of them were not having so much experiences when we were working around Delhi, that is in Mewat. And also we experimented in Dhar with these two regions where the drought was a major constraint. So we tried to identify the farmers' typology. So different categories of farmers, we could find it out. And the two prominent were one that is disengaged, other was skeptical about the climate change. That was not so soothing for us. So basically we tried to find out who are the farmers who have got some pragmatic outlook or conservation stewards or those who had ambitions. So finding these kinds of typologies of farmer, we picked up who believed in more on conservation stewardship and tried to promote more of the innovations through them in the village system. So also we find that what kinds of factors determine their adaptation decision when they had the different choices. We could find it out that more of the risk orientation or social network, it was governing their adaptation decision. And extension contact was not, because much of the dialogue related to climate change was not happening during 2009 and 10. So again, we tried to find it out how to mitigate those risk perception among them and how the social network can be strengthened to enable them to have those technologies. So we conceptualized a model and we tested it. Firstly, it was how to enable them. So whatever psychological barriers they had about the new innovations, new technologies, new varieties, or new practices, those kinds of things we tried to remove through providing innovations and information, also alternative options if they were switching over to some of the new varieties like WR544. Availability of seed was a problem. So we promoted community seed bank. We provided them seeds and we provided them seed beans, and so that they could store at the village level. And in Dhar, another kind of problem was their early heat stage. So there also we changed the practices and 8 villages were converted to seed villages. So options we provided them training, capacity building was there, and facility for keeping the seeds, production and storage of the seeds, we tried to enable them. And one major factor was enhancing the social learning pattern among the farmers to exchange their experiences with this knowledge. That was the enabling aspect. Then we also engaged them through different kinds of workshops, different kinds of demonstrations, where more of the dialogue between the scientific opinion and the farmers' feedback could be assimilated. And we exemplified the result by demonstrating and proving the potential of the technologies and encourage them to take these technologies forward, not only for half-acre plot, but more of the plots they could do by hand-holding, providing them some incentives in form of seeds. And we also provided them some recognition as certificates. And some peer pressure we tried to put in those farmers where we're promoting mostly of the IPM, like yellow card or pheromone traps. Many adjoining farmers were not doing that. So we tried to make a certain kinds of supercomputer IMD is able to predict in almost a precise manner. But at that time, it was not there. So which information they want instant within 2 days or a week or fortnight. And also we wanted to know what is the form of advisory they want. That is the usable form. So different usable forms they came up with, like mobile SMS. But majority they wanted that if there is some announcement in the village, that is the traditional method that cannot be afforded because it's a age of ICT. So we could have certain kinds of benefit.
क्या हो रहा है भैया? पढ़ारिया सर शेयर कर रहे हैं. तो इसी अरे कहाँ से हो हाइड्रो.
So the mobile based advisory system we try to bring into the fold. But then we had the experiences of 71 ICT-based extension model. So what we could find it out that what factors affected adoption of ICT-based tools and advisory system, that e-skill, awareness, e-ownership, accessibility, e-willingness, these were the factors which governed farmer to take up these ICT-based initiatives. So what I tried to do, that we had a dialogue with the team which were providing SMS to the advisory by router from Haryana, but that didn't work. So from our NIP team, we had a collaboration with Tata Consultancy Services, and we developed Pusa M Krishi, which provided them a lot of platform. And there, again, the farmers' feedback were more important, particularly when we were giving them advisory related to weather. Farmer do not understand if it is 24 degree or 18 degrees or 30 degree. We try to give them in graphic form so that they can know whether today is higher or lower with the average of the 7 days. That give them more momentum to know about the kinds of information. So it was a two-way dynamic system. Farmers could call back and they can record their questions either in the text message or voice message or even video. And the same thing we could receive at our place at the different expert center. And the person here could get to know which farmer has raised which query, and accordingly we were able to send them the advice in real time. That was a good kind of effort we could make through Pusa M Krishi, but it was not so easy to upscale it. Hardly few farmers wanted to have it, but then we provided them the mobiles, the smart mobiles, and also the downloaded Pusa M Krishi, and a lot of hand-holding programs were given through the school children. They were able to handle those smartphones and they could educate the family members. So we engaged them also in this process. So likewise, when they understood that they can send their pest-infested brinjal plant and they will receive these kinds of advisory, it was a wonderful experience for them and it clicked very well. Earlier, we had only the kind of frequently asked questions given to the farmers in form of literature, but here we also gave them a reservoir in the mobile itself. What is the best practices, how they can select the things with the menu driven, they could get the guidance. And at the expert console level here, we were able to monitor which farmer has raised which query at what time and whether the answer has been given or not. So this way we could find it out that the queries raising tendency has increased and the farmers have used a lot. Now, second challenge was that how to promote more of the NRM technologies. So here we went for community-based extension model through collective action, where we use the sociometric analysis. So what it was that we tried to find it out, what is the line of communication among the farmers, who communicates with whom, with what frequency. And that led to develop the social network and also the betweenness index, which farmer is able to communicate with other farmers and bring into the fold. And there are certain indicators like reach efficiency. There are some farmers who are able to reach out to many. And who is the crucial person, that is the agent vector generated by the analysis. So by that matrix analysis, we could find it out, a group, and we found that there are people who are having betweenness index higher and size of density means they are communicating very high, someone having high agent vector. With this, we tried to form a group and we created a Pusa Chetna Krishak Club in a village. And that laid a foundation to development of conviction among the farmers. Through them, we also developed custom hard centers, provided them all the zero tillage machine, ledger leveling and other facilities. We put up one information kiosk and Pusa Krishi agro advisory centers were made there. And we developed a network of 100 climate smart farmers. And all honorable directors, they have visited this area. Now the former DG, former director IARI, now DG, he also witnessed our work in this Nikra village. And as a result, we could develop a climate smart village where there is village climate risk management committee. Pusa Chetna Krishak Club is looking after that. We had the climate farm school, custom hiring center. Women have been engaged in this process to take care of the other activities related to climate change adaptation, particularly the maintenance of the health of the cow. Other process we tried to bring in that if there was some misunderstanding or a gap in understanding about the phenomena of the other technologies like direct seeded rice, where the bad experience because it didn't work in the light soil. And also in some farmers' case, when we had the raised bed plantation, So we thought that how best the one farmers who is successful, other farmers are not successful, can social learning bring into some better kind of promotion of the technology. So we installed information kiosk and developed some videos on these technologies, and those videos were shown to the farmers, and they were asked to have a knowledge processing work in the village group itself. As a result of that, the farmers who were individual learners earlier, their interaction increased, the density of communication increased by 151%, average degree of connections per person increased to 155%, and compactness of the group also increased to 37%. As a result of that, the yield in zero tillage increased significantly in comparison to those farmers who did not participate in social learning engagement. And we also provided them to how to have this video learning given there. If there is no one to talk about that, can they themselves learn about that? So we made them hypertext audio kind of thing. So if they want to know about the varieties of wheat, so we have given them symbol. If they do not, they cannot read it, by just clicking it, the whole narration about the wheat will come up. Similarly, for what are the weed for the wheat, or what are the different diseases for wheat. For other crops also, we try to promote in the information kiosk, that hypertext and video-based things we try to promote. We can see that how the interaction pattern has changed as a result of that, from before learning, social learning, and after social learning, and that way the technology dissemination took up higher rate. And didn't work only for one village, because one village person has got interaction with other villages. And because of this interaction, we can see how the rate of diffusion of the NRM technologies went from one village to another. So at the end, we could find out that the technology dissemination spread to 10 villages without our effort. It was all because of those we engineered there through social learning process. Through them, it diffused to more than 1,200 acres. Most of the technologies related to climate change, like zero-till wheat or DSR or SRI, race-based. And our scientists who were the team, they also worked out what is the kind of benefit they are giving to climate change adaptation in terms of the CO2 emissions, irrigation water requirement, lessening of that, and CO2 kind of things. They try to convince the farmers, it's not that you are adopting technology only for yourself, you are contributing for the national challenge, how to manage the greenhouse gas effect and how we can proceed further for climate change adaptation. As a result of these kinds of ventures, the technology's flow was faster and many of the areas got benefited. And we could go for the different parts of the Indo-Gangetic Plain in the middle zone and also to the lower Gangetic Plain. And these are some of the glimpses how the farmers were addressed by our directors, and they could witness the efforts done by the farmers themselves. And one of the resolutions they took after the participation in all this process, that they will not go for residue burning. Way back in 2012-13 only, they had taken the resolution, no more paddy straw burning. They all used for different purposes. As a result of all these kinds of ventures, we could find out there are different change in the indicators of resilience among the farmers, whether it is related to the technological knowledge or skills or access to technology, access to machinery, access to information, access to weather advisories or collective action. Everything increased because of these efforts. And in 2012, there was a drought, and the farmers were baffled. 2 times they had sown their bajra crops, but nothing germinated because there was no moisture in the soil. So we developed immediately a contingency plan, and that contingency plan talked about going for compressed kind of cropping, that bajra season they had missed. So we promoted the early mustard variety of IARI and late sown variety of wheat, that WR44. As a result of that, they could have better harvest at the end, and the loss in the income was saved. The other approach, we found that most of the things we are promoting there, but what other agencies where the funds are flowing related to climate change and other factors like Department of Agriculture. So we try to bring in more of the convergence of the different players. So then what is the premise of convergence and why we talk of convergence and how it can be carried forward? So the basic idea is that now we should move beyond technological gap and yield gap. Now we have to bridge the gaps in the subsystems, means one cropping system to other cropping system. If it is a system, then crop and livestock, and also the gaps between the institutions. Those institutions, they are working for one common cause. Can they come closer? So with this, we try to break the pragmatic silos and sporadic effect by the different agencies working for climate change. So that experimentation we try to do at the block and the village level, and we try to make an analysis. So who are the key players in the line departments for promoting these kinds of technologies? Obviously, the network analysis of extension, they showed that there is a high degree of centrality with KVK, followed by Atma and the Department of Agriculture and SAUs. And definitely because KVKs are doing a marvelous job and the dynamic leadership by our Honorable DDG and Present Chairperson. And this data showed from the different districts, we try to find it out. There is high in degree centrality of KVK and Atma and Department of Agriculture. And the betweenness centrality of KVK was also the highest. It means the KVK has the potential to bring in more closer to other agencies. So what kinds of convergence pattern we can think of? In different perspective, we can take it that the analysis showed which agency has more of the out degree, means who are the agencies which are going outward, and who are the agencies where people are coming for information. That's like KVK, Department of Agriculture, Department of Horticulture, and centrality factor, which is the crucial element, that is the KVK. So it is suggested that convergence-led extension can function if KVK takes a lead. So we try to promote some of the convergence-led extension in Gaya or Chhattisgarh and also in Meghalaya. And because of that, pulse production, mushroom cultivation increased in Meghalaya, and Chhattisgarh direct seeded rice was promoted as a result of convergence of that. We also tried to test the same model in Gaya, where we were working under NICRA. So we developed one framework, how the partners will come. If some of the partners are not coming, departments want to work, how they can come up. So we found that if someone is there to have those hold or bring the partners at the one platform, so we developed Pusa Kisan Vikas Samiti at Dohari village in Gaya. There the Atma, Department of Agriculture, KVK, NGO Pran, and service organization NABARD or input agencies and research organization IARI and BR Agriculture University, they came forward. And as a result of that, we divided what should be the role of different players. What is the role of IARI, training, capacity building? What is the role of Pran and different agencies? We had the different roles and we performed. And accordingly, we could see that several things changed. One is adoption of solar pump by women group at the village Dohari. And because of that, there was additional irrigation facility and also the cropping pattern change shifted to organic vegetable cultivation. Atma provided training on mushroom cultivation, goatry, organic farming, laid down some block demonstration. National Food Security Mission, they provided improved varieties for demonstration. KVK provided training and improved seeds. Manrega provided plantation of fruits and forest trees and desilting of ponds. Department of Agriculture provided varieties for demonstration. Soil Conservation Department provided check dams and ponds, and IARI provided improved seeds, biofertilizers, as well as training. As a result of that, 9 villages are in fold, more than 1,000 acres are under zero tillage, 300 acres under DSR, and 212 organic farmers are there. And crop diversification with finger millet and maize and pigeon pea is happening. So it means that the different players can bring it at one place, how it can gain momentum. So similar things we also tested at Kalimpong with one of our partners, IARI regional station. There also the similar kinds of findings we could get it by the convergence of KVKs, NGOs and IARI, several benefits the farmers could get it. And at Raipur, similar kinds of convergence again at Kukera village promoted DSR. And also the activities of Manrega and veterinary department, all kinds of facilities started coming up. Idea is, who is going to absorb this? Everyone is ready with budget to go, but someone there should be absorb it. So some kinds of village institution or community-based institution, if it is there, and they can take care of the convergence of the different platforms. So we also promoted gender empowerment, particularly in Mewat. It was a very difficult situation to handle the women group separately. They were not allowed to move out the home. So we started having a family training program. So we also invited now the ladies trainers, ladies scientific staff to go for training to this woman. So that way we try to bridge that social barrier and promote it for gender empowerment. We also engaged school children because 2 factors were there. One is use of ICT-based extension. Other was some kinds of scientific principles, if they are able to communicate to their parents, they will be easily adopting, particularly the seed treatment. Likewise, we could find out what is the frame of the mind or perception among the children. By drawing, we could find it out. They could have the different kinds of perception, but we wanted them to act as knowledge workers for their village. So we made a content analysis of their paintings, and they assumed or they presumed that everything is because of the local pollution. And so it requires more of the framing and how the perception building can happen in the young children, so they can attribute to the different factors how the different activities of the farm are also contributing to that. Can we take certain steps to modify those bad practices? And that's where we given them some kinds of incentive to the school children. Those who were toppers, we provided them 5 kg paddy seed with 1 packet of seed treatment, so that they can educate their parents seed treatment is must. Likewise, we could also prevail upon the different population of the technologies of heat and drought tolerant varieties, crop management, water saving technologies. It led to significant change at the field level. And also we created several kinds of village resource center or the seed production villages. And as a result of that, many of the farmers started taking the new technologies like mulching, plastic-based mulching, or the pheromone traps, or the different kinds of low tunnel and for the vegetable cultivation. As a result of that, significant strides were there among the community itself to take certain steps for climate change adaptation. And this is the earlier when we promoted Net House, earlier director, Dr. S.A. Patil sir had very much appreciated. That was in 2007 when the farmers adopted this Net House and started selling the seedlings and earning extra from per acre of the vegetable cultivation. We also promoted some kinds of the practices which can bring in more of the entrepreneurship development. This was another context when we had the business model developed. So PRS-10 was very much demand in IARI. The farmers used to throw in Mela ground to have the even 1 bag of PRS-10. So we worked in the under the DST project in the village, and we educated the farmers to take up this hybrid seed production. That was a unique experimentation we could do, and the farmers were also very much excited. Even the application of GA3, the farmers could do for themselves, and they developed the PRS-10. But then marketing was a problem, so we provided them the platform at the Mela. And when IRA was selling the seed of 120 kg packet, he sold at 200 rupees packet. But branding was done by IRI and DST project. So this is the kind of hand-holding we should provide for development of different entrepreneurship model. Similarly, mango in the institute I work, where this is another kind of a very small example where some of the farmers were trained for ethereal ripening. So ethereal is a very costly kind of ware. How the farmers designed it that after the experiment was over, somebody carried the container in home and they reused the chemicals. And the ripening was of the same intensity. So it was refined that the same solution could be used for 4 times. That saved the time, money, energy, and the farmers could use the ripening of mango. And we promoted the rural youth not to sell green mangoes. So go for selling the ripened mangoes through ethereal, not by carbide. An alternative to carbide, so ethereal treatment, and the farmers started getting 4 to 5 rupees kg extra by selling the ripened fruit. So likewise, we also promoted different kinds of livelihood opportunities like mushroom cultivation, dal and dalia preparation, amla products preparation, promotion of goat rearing, and promotion of zero energy cool chambers for the keeping of the vegetables and selling in the latter. And all things can happen only when the farmers come together. A lot of efforts are being now made for farmer producer organization. At that time, we tried to make them into farmer groups, and those groups were known as Tomato Growers Association. And somehow there was a meeting with the SAFAL, and they had already targeted certain groups of farmers in Fazilka. So we tried to have those groups connected in Mewat by the already existing Alwar Regional Procurement Center of SAFAL, and this way we link the farmers to market. But many times we develop groups, but they falter. But we also try to mobilize some of the farmer producer organizations recently, and we are training them how to remain in an intact group. Most of the time farmers form group, but after very few period, they decay. So I studied what are the sustainability factors which leads to the kind of sustenance of a association. We find that if there is a better finance management, incentives are given to the members, trust building is there, democratic style of leadership is there, transparency in handling of the affairs are there, and if there is some brand value or some identity, that keeps the group intact. So these are the lessons we are providing the farmers producer organization. So keep these principles, keep this learning into your daily practice, maintain a register, and let everyone speak, and there should be democracy and trust building process every time. That's where we are grooming up these farmer producer organizations. And some insights are there also for technology development and assessment. This was my first assignment when I joined as scientist. Many of the technologies we develop at Lucknow Central Institute for Subtropical Horticulture, they developed a technology that is rejuvenation of mango orchard. Any farmer will hold his heart by seeing this kind of photograph of his orchard. They love their orchard so much, they just can't believe that complete pruning of that. So no taker was there. So somehow we again approached the farmers, we started working with them, and by their dialogue and this, we reached into a kind of refinement that is alternate pruning, and that facilitated the flow of the technologies. And also the horticulturists learned that how by alternate pruning, those are earlier whose trees who had to be pruned need not be pruned because of high photosynthesis rate. Already productivity has increased of those trees. Similarly, for crop regulation guava, scientists had the major kind of challenge how the guava bearing of the rainy season can be converted more into the winter season, because winter season guava is very fetches high market rate and sweet also in comparison to insipidness during rainy season. But then when we had the trials in different locations of Uttar Pradesh, everyone was satisfied that yes, we are able to secure good harvest during rainy winter season. But sir, we want our income to be distributed throughout the year rather than income to be secured only during winter months. So this technology is not appropriate for us. So non-acceptance of technology doesn't mean that farmers are laggard. We need closer examination from the perspective of user context. We should engage them in experimentation and refinement process with participatory design and their own evaluation indicators. Similarly, it's not only these kinds of technologies. Farmers have contributed even in the success of BT cotton. Yes, BT cotton had the Cry1AC gene and also the double stack gene, and it performed well against American bollworm. But there was a huge news related to has BT cotton failed in country? Has BT cotton led to more suicide of the farmers? So I took up a study of the 9 states I surveyed. And here the farmers also have come to rescue, and some of the gaps in the knowledge dissemination that was crucial, which led to certain kinds of bad experiences of the farmers. See, one was the condition of refugia plantation. So once it is given as a 150 grams for refugia, no guidelines how to go for refugia and other things. Many times if it is asked, somebody says that India is a heterozygous kinds of condition are there, whether refugia is, even it is not given, no problem. But then farmers conceived their own methodology. Though since pigeon pea and cotton are taken as intercrop, so they took pigeon pea as the border crop or the refugia. No need to have the non-BT the threat of what the farmers perceive that if the bollworm is coming on the border rows, wow, it will not enter the main field. That was their apprehension. But this could be checked by simple remedy because of plantation of the pigeon pea. Pigeon pea is alternate host for the American bollworm. That way they could design their solve their problem. Similarly, some of the farmers engaged for assured irrigation and extended the crop life of cotton up to April and harvested 20 to 14 quintals extra. And they're also altering the crop geometry. Since when BT cotton hybrid, 4 BT cotton hybrid were launched, there was no guidelines in what kinds of planting density or something were there. It was just a kind of dialogue to the farmers that American bollworm will not be there. But some variety had the different spreading nature. So the row to row and plant to plant distance has to be seen into right context. So they devised their own kinds of planting distance at 6:1 rather than going for conventional and seeking higher benefits. And also they could find it out. And at that time when the BT cotton was launched, it was not suggested which hybrid will be more suitable for light soil, which hybrid will be more suitable for heavy soil. That's why the farmers who have the light soil in Maharashtra, particularly the regions of Akola, and nearby districts, they had the bad experiences. So they could find it out when I had their participatory assessment. They said that MAC 12 was having better suitability for heavy soil and RCS2 for light soil. So when the farmers were sold, they were sold that this is BT hybrid, this is ball guard, you cultivate and you will get the bumper harvest. But yes, they got the bumper harvest when the regime was heavy soil and irrigated condition. But when it's the light soil and rainfed condition, the yield is only 3 to 4. And that's why they were dissatisfied. They also expected that I will get the benefit of 10 to 15 quintals per acre, but it didn't happen. But then if suitability is given, then it is better, and that dialogue was missing, that communication from the sellers, the private agencies, the Monsanto and other companies who were engaged in that, they undermined the role of dialogue with the farmers to educate properly. So different perspectives are there, whether it is related to the kind of health hazard, whether it is related to reduction in pesticide, whether it is related to woman component. Several dimensions we have to see for assessment of BT cotton or any kinds of transgenic. That kind of dialogue was required, and that's why Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change had a project on developing guidelines and methodology for socioeconomic assessment of LMOs. I was fortunate to be part of that based on my own experiences of surveys with the BT cotton success in the country in 9 states. So I could formulate with the different dialogues with at the different places. And this booklet is guidelines is ready by Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. So other significant, because of positive sign, just I like to share that I also worked for IDRC project related to evaluation capacity building. Most of the kind of framework for research, our honorable chairperson has rightly suggested how to advance our extension research. Most of our research are ex post facto, and then evaluation capacity building needs to be taken care of. That's why in partnership with Michigan State University and IDRC funding, we developed evaluation capacity building. We developed one course on monitoring, evaluation and impact assessment, and regular training we also conduct. And we educate our students also to take up the robust methodologies. We also worked on vulnerability assessment to climate change. And one of our student, my student, Dr. Sujit Sarkar, got Jawaharlal Nehru Award based on his vulnerability assessment work. Then we also work on assessment of extension models, development of psychological instruments. And I'm also engaged on DBT project of Biotech Kisan Hub development and outscaling 7 aspirational districts. And I devised certain new courses, as Honorable Chairman Sir has already highlighted. And we also engaged in development of the capacity of staff through CAF training. And most of the kind of new areas of extension research we take care. But because of Corona period, 2 years, we have not organized any CAF training program so far, but online training we are doing. So I have developed several kinds of training manuals and modules and practical manuals, and also developed certain educational videos for the benefit of end users. So with all kinds of rewards already our chairperson has talked about. And at the end, I acknowledge my sincere gratitude to my honorable director for his guidance, all support, motivation, and also to the chairperson when he was director here and as a DDG extension, he has been monitoring the NICRA project and other kinds of extension research. He talked about NIMA. Sir, I'm really grateful to all of you. I extend my sincere gratitude to Dean and Joint Director Education, Madam, Joint Director Research and Joint Director Extension, all my teachers, and the project funded from ICR, DBT, DST, Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. And I'm grateful to the PIs of NAIP as well as NICRA who provided me this opportunity to work as a social scientist in this work on climate change adaptation. And I'm thankful to my faculty, students, all farmers, and State Department of Agriculture officials who contributed a lot in development of these models and testing in the fields. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. I now request the chairperson, Dr. A.K. Singh, to kindly offer his valuable remarks.
Thank you. First of all, I congratulate once again Dr. Padaria. Firstly, we congratulated for you getting the award, but now we congratulate for your excellent presentation of the activity and tasks you have assigned to have performed over years. We find that there is a lot of diversity in your work over time, and focus on technology assessment, adaptation strategy, the decision making. At one end, when you work with NICRA and all those climate resilient technologies, taking to the farmers' fields. And also, you came with the idea of how the convergence can happen and what may be the indicators which can bring people together. That is most important, what I find out of the many achievements you indicated here. We find in the field that many things are happening, many departments are working on the same lines, but they are not converging together. Once we see a district itself, there may be 100 to 200 workers with different departments who are working in agriculture, but seldomly you will find that all are connected together. And probably this is one thing which we have been able to achieve in few of the districts and might be a kind of lesson for other places to move it further. Your one area of work has been ICT also. Long back you worked on M-Krishi and a kind of video advisory to be given to the farmers. The network you created long probably being discussed nowadays more, that how it can be more, you can say, meaningful, more appropriate for the farmers. At the same time, we find that there are many agencies providing ICT kind of platforms, and farmers find it difficult to go on what platform and to get the information. So probably your way of working long back on M-Krishi is also guiding today to build platform. ICAR is already on the way to build another platform, Kisan Sarthi. And you will be also happy to know that Kisan Sarthi will be the solely handling the entire advisory for the farmers in the country, and even Kisan call centers which were run by Department of Agriculture, they will be also not working maybe in the next year. So entire responsibility will come to ICAR, and your M-Krishi model will be also helping build this platform of Kisan Sarthi. The other aspect in which you have worked on NRM technologies, and we find often that taking NRM technology and its adaptation is very slow as compared to other technologies like varieties and others. And convincing people about the NRM aspects, it's a great challenge for us. And if we have achieved somewhere in some location, it's a significant achievement on your part. We have also worked on the crop residue management. Entire country is looking for this kind of initiatives. ICAR is also doing on a bigger scale now, and we hope that what kind of achievements we have been able to make will be further upscaled on a larger scale. We also find that on gender empowerment, you have done some work, and another area which is quite important as of now, we find that women are there mostly in the villages, and they are leading families in terms of farming and other aspects. So that is a very, very important area in which we have worked. We also see that you have worked on some important commodities like cotton and mango. And rightly you mentioned many times that convincing farmers about any of the technology which is generated from the institutions as such is always difficult. And we find that despite all those recommendations given by us, farmers are making certain changes on their own level also, maybe for good, maybe so that they are not having the kinds of resources which we are communicating them to do. So there may be other regions also, but this is very important that you have identified the technologies, you have identified the crops, taken to the farmers, and generated a kind of feedback which may be very important for institutions like IARI also, in modifying those technologies and making it more acceptable to the farmers. So I find that your area of work has been quite diverse, relating to the farmers, the community actions, how it can be brought, and rightly also you mentioned that some of the indicators for, you can say, community mobilization, which you have been able to derive by working with the farmers, based on those evidences you are trying to support farmers producer organizations which are coming up now. And I'm very much sure that they will be helpful in strengthening those FPOs. So altogether, congratulations to you. The achievements which you have indicated, but other than this, the kind of new courses which you have been able to introduce, and even today you are pursuing that the new Dean's Committee reports doesn't include some of the aspects which should have been there. And you are having concern for that also. So for all those things over the years, achievements which you have made, the presentations which you have made, I think it may be a kind of eye opener for the youngsters who might be listening today, may see your presentations later on also. And I hope that you will be continuing your contributions toward the extension science in the years to come. All the best to you, and thankful to Dr. A.K. Singh, the Director IARI, for inviting me, and also to the Dean on this platform, associating me with IARI. It is always a pleasure to be with you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. And hearty congratulations to Dr. Padaria for excellent presentation and excellent summary and application of the research work that has been provided by Honorable Chair. I am really grateful to you, sir, for sparing time and being with us and giving your guidance as always and supervision. I am sure these innovations in agricultural extension, education will find application in times to come in a big way. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Over.
Thank you, sir.
Dr. Rasmi.
May I now humbly request Dr. Rashmi Agarwal, Dean and Joint Director Extension, to finally give the formal vote of thanks.
Thank you, Dr. Angela. And it's really my pleasant duty and pleasure to really propose a formal vote of thanks. But before that, my heartiest congratulations to Dr. R.N. Padaria for giving this wonderful lecture and getting this award. So friends, you will agree with me that today we had on the same platform two pleasing and humble personalities, Dr. A.K. Singh, our DDG Agriculture Extension, and similarly committed and humble Dr. Ravindra Padaria, and also another very pleasant and humble personality, our director, Dr. A.K. Singh. So my heartfelt thanks to them. First of all, my gratefulness to Dr. A.K. Singh, DDG Agriculture Extension. Besides having such a busy schedule, he accepted our invitation, and very nicely he concluded the presentations and giving a lot of directions also to the agriculture extension at country level, which Dr. Ravindra Padaria can also take up. And at the same time, I would like to thank our director, Dr. A.K. Singh, and all the faculty members, all the professor heads who joined this wonderful lecture given by Dr. Ravindra Padaria. And the students also. I think the students also must have learned a lot from Dr. Ravindra Padaria's lecture. They have a lot of things to learn and go ahead, not only in the field of agriculture extension, but in other areas of education and research also. So with these words, I gratefully thank each one of you for joining this wonderful lecture, and again, best wishes and congratulations to Dr. Ravindra Padaria for getting this second best agricultural extension scientist award. Thank you. Thank you, each one of you.
Thank you, ma'am. We have now come to the end of this morning's award lecture series, and we will be meeting again at 2:30 p.m. for the lecture by the recipient of Dr. B.P. Pal Medal and